Chapter 29. Qin Yao's hand, which was stretched out towards Qin Wentian, froze in place. Seeing the demonic ape hugging Qin Wentian, she felt as though everything was unreal. This demonic beast didn't seem to be a real one. If not, it would be impossible for Qin Wentian to appear within its body. However, the emotions in its eyes were so real. Roar! The demonic ape howled, before turning around and sprinting away. Its feet stomped on the ground, causing a thunderous sound to echo out. Its body soared up into the skies, and when it landed again, it was already 100 meters away, causing the earth to shatter. That gigantic body didn't pause for even a moment, as it soared up into the skies once more. Very quickly, its silhouette transformed into a blurry shadow, leaving behind only the rumbling sounds of its body reverberating throughout Sky Harmony City. How is this possible? How can a summoned beast appear beside Qin Wentian? If this isn't a summoned beast, then what is it? Muren's experience was extraordinary, but at this moment, he still couldn't tell what kind of existence the demonic ape was. Qin Yao's silhouette dashed in the direction of the demonic ape, but she was held back by Qin Yi. Now that the Yi clan had been forced into retreat, the Sky Harmony City was still filled with their forces. It was too dangerous for Qin Yao to chase after Qin Wentian. However, for the time being, the danger here could be considered resolved. Qin Yi turned his gaze towards Muren as he coldly stated, "My Qin clan will definitely remember your actions today." Muren indifferently swept a glance at Qin Yi, as though he didn't care at all. Disdain could be seen in his eyes as he replied, "Your luck isn't bad. If you want to find me, come to the Star River Association in the royal capital." As he spoke, Muren and his group entered the Star River Association, completely disregarding the Qin clan. In the eyes of the arrogant Grandmaster Weaponsmith, the Qin clan was merely a clan that was about to fall. Qin Yi led the members of the Qin clan, and departed together with those from the Emperor Star Academy. The spectators from afar were still in a dumbfounded state. Very swiftly, the news of Qin Wentian transforming into a terrifying demonic ape and slaying Emo, who was at the Yuanfu realm, was spread throughout the entire Sky Harmony City. Qin Wentian became a hot topic of discussion among countless people. And on the same day, another shocking event occurred. From the northwest direction of Chu, a troop of armored cavalry entered Sky Harmony City, breaking through the blockade of Sky Harmony City as they headed straight for the Qin residence. It was said that this troop belonged to the army stationed in the northwest region of Chu. The general of this troop was once a war general under Qin Wu, and after receiving the news that the Yi clan had led their troops into Sky Harmony City, they rushed over through the night. The situation in Sky Harmony City changed in the blink of an eye. The Qin residence was reorganized, and Wuxia and Lua were forced to evacuate. The Bai clan also gave the order to relocate to the capital of Chu. In the Bai clan, Bai Qingsong seemed to have aged several times. Ever since the awakening of Autumn Snow's astral soul, he had been in high spirits. Who would have thought that Qin Wentian would appear out of nowhere, causing the Bai clan to suffer continuous setbacks? Not only that, his youngest daughter was also disobedient. "I won't go with you." Bai Qing calmly looked at her father. However, at this moment, she was no longer as lively and adorable as before. She was much colder than before. These few days, she had been under house arrest. "Impudent, where is your filial piety?" Bai Qingsong raged. "Filial piety? Father, do you still remember that you taught me about filial piety? You also taught me about benevolence and righteousness. But what have you done? Hypocritical, despicable, repaying kindness with enmity. You harmed the Qin clan, and even caused the death of Wentian Gij." Bai Qing's eyes were slightly moist. She hated her father. Why was everything in the past a facade? Her father was a hypocrite. A young girl had always viewed her father as her idol, and had always believed in his kindness. Yet now, she personally witnessed her father betraying his own beliefs. Such an impact was extremely cruel to a 15-year-old girl. "Wentian Gij, I'm your father. Benevolence and righteousness are all based on benefits. Everything I've done is for the sake of the Bai clan, for the sake of you sisters." Bai Qingsong's gaze turned cold. "Why can't you be more like your sister? Be like my sister, disguising herself?" She even deceived me. I didn't expect her heart to be so ruthless, and Wentian Gij treated her so well. Bai Qing coldly laughed. Unreasonable. Seems like I've raised you for nothing. No wonder your sister's talent is so outstanding, yet you can't even cultivate. Bai Qingsong was extremely disappointed. Talent, is it this? Bai Qing coldly laughed. Abruptly, a resplendent astral light blossomed in the darkness, causing Bai Qingsong to be stunned. Astral soul. An astral soul floated above Bai Qing's head. This astral soul was in the form of an astral shadow, with a faint crimson gold glow surrounding it. A crimson gold astral soul originated from the fourth heavenly layer. Boom! Bai Qingsong only felt his mind violently trembling, causing him to be dumbfounded. The fourth heavenly layer. Bai Qing's first astral soul originated from the fourth heavenly layer. This caused Bai Qingsong to be dumbstruck. The astral soul slowly entered Bai Qing's body, and in an instant, Bai Qing's entire person seemed to have transformed into a specter, exuding a cold aura, causing Bai Qingsong to involuntarily shiver. Good, as expected of my daughter. But since you have such talent, why did you choose such a cold and gloomy astral soul? Bai Qingsong's body was still trembling. It's not that I can't cultivate. It's just that Wentian Gij taught me not to cultivate the yuan qi of heaven and earth, in order to better sense the constellations in the heavenly layer. Wentian Gij also taught me the art of meditation, which is why I'm able to sense the astral souls from the third heavenly layer like my sister. But because of my disappointment in you, I chose to continue climbing upwards. I'm not afraid of death. Even if I die, I will still continue to climb upwards. My consciousness is filled with negative emotions, and when I broke through to the fourth heavenly layer, I already lost my consciousness. Wentian Gij might not be related to me by blood, but he is kind and strong. He taught me how to be optimistic and positive, and his smile is always so clean. You are indeed my father, but you taught me hypocrisy, betrayal, heartlessness, and cold-bloodedness. What qualifications do you have to be a father? You are not worthy. After speaking, Bai Qing turned and walked away, leaving Bai Qingsong standing there in a daze. There was only one sentence left in his mind. You are not worthy. Closing his eyes, the hidden regret in the depths of Bai Qingsong's heart resurfaced. He was thinking about what would have happened if he hadn't betrayed this marriage. Both of his daughters had outstanding talent, especially Bai Qing, who had broken through to the fourth heavenly layer. This was a miracle in the Chu country, but now, she no longer recognized him as her father. 3 days later, in a forested area to the west of Sky Harmony City, a snowy white dog was running in circles on the ground. Beside it was the silhouette of a handsome youth. The intelligent eyes of the snowy dog flickered as it sprinted away. After a few moments, it returned with 2 young girls following behind it. Little fellow, why did you bring me here? One of the girls was clad in white. She was as beautiful as a fairy, as though she was above the common populace. She ran behind the snowy dog, and very quickly her beautiful eyes froze. There was actually someone in front of her. The snowy dog squatted beside the youth lying on the ground, its adorable eyes staring at the girl clad in white. Ching, this little bastard. We chased him all the way from the royal capital to here, but to no avail. And now, because of a dead person, he actually took the initiative to look for us. The green-robed girl glared at the snowy dog, feeling extremely unhappy. This little fellow has been playing with us all along. He obviously could have shaken us off, but he purposely followed us. How hateful. Mo Qingqing shook her head as she smiled bitterly. After which, she walked to the side of the youth and examined his injuries. He has only fainted due to his heavy injuries. His spirit qi and spirit are all exhausted. After which, Mo Qingqing retrieved a medicinal pill from her robes and fed it to the youth. The moment the medicinal pill entered the mouth of the youth, it automatically flowed into his body. Are you crazy? That's a second-level high-grade medicinal pill. The green-robed girl was dumbfounded. The grade of this medicinal pill was the same as a divine weapon, a second-level high-grade medicinal pill. Even those at the arterial circulation realm would go crazy over it. Who asked us to meet him? Nolan, there's a grass hut not far away from here. Let's rest there, Mo Qingqing said to the green-robed girl, as she carried the youth on her back. Crazy, he's really crazy. Nolan shook her head. If people in the royal capital knew that Mo Qingqing was carrying a man on her back, how big of a commotion would it cause? What's even more hateful was that when they were walking, the hands of that man were resting on Mo Qingqing's chest and would occasionally touch her breasts, causing Mo Qingqing's face to turn red. What are you looking at? The green-robed girl glared at the snowy dog as she whispered. That brat got lucky. Nolan, in any case, he doesn't know anything now. Also, this little fellow is extremely intelligent. Since he asked us to save him, this can be considered fate. Mo Qingqing bitterly smiled. She had never imagined that she would be so intimate with a man. If the 10 prodigies of the royal capital were to find out about this, I'm afraid that even if he grew a few more heads, it wouldn't be enough for him to die. Nolan shook her head. She was very clear about the statuses of those who pursued the white-robed girl, but Qingqing had never bothered with them. The 2 girls arrived at the grass hut. This grass hut was located in a clearing in the forest, and there was even a river beside it. It was an extremely tranquil place. Nolan was currently lighting a fire, and when she saw Mo Qingqing and the snowy dog walking over with some medicinal herbs in their hands, she couldn't help but exclaim in shock. Can this little rascal really find some spiritual herbs? The snowy dog quickly ran over to Nolan and sat down with its head held high. Its eyes were filled with provocation, causing Nolan to roll her eyes. Arrogant bastard. Nolan cursed in a low voice, but she was secretly amazed. Mo Qingqing walked over and smiled. I already said that he has a spiritual connection, but I don't know what demonic beast he is. Yet he refused to follow me, causing us to chase him all the way here. Let me brew the medicinal herbs. Mo Qingqing walked over to Nolan's side. As Nolan stepped aside, the snowy dog hopped onto Qin Wentian's back and lay down beside Qin Wentian. Only after Mo Qingqing had finished brewing the medicinal herbs and fed them to Qin Wentian did he move away and quietly watched on from the side. Nolan cast a deep glance at Qin Wentian, feeling somewhat bewildered. How could this fellow be so lucky to have the #1 beauty of Chu personally carry him back and feed him medicine? Chapter 30. Under the care of Mo Qingqing, Qin Wentian's complexion gradually regained some color, but he was still unconscious. The snowy puppy would occasionally lie beside Qin Wentian and occasionally leap into Mo Qingqing's embrace, causing her to smile unceasingly. This little fellow was too adorable. Nolan, what demonic beast do you think it is? Mo Qingqing asked. Who knows? Maybe it's just an ordinary wild beast that doesn't know how to cultivate. Nolan replied. How can there be such an intelligent wild beast? But this little fellow is too small. Mo Qingqing smiled radiantly, causing Nolan to be a little dazed. You seem to be in a good mood these few days. I've never seen you smile in front of others before. In any case, there are no outsiders around. Mo Qingqing shrugged. What about him? Nolan pointed to the unconscious Qin Wentian. He was even hugged by you before. Mo Qingqing couldn't help but blush as she rolled her eyes at Nolan, after which, she shifted her gaze to Qin Wentian. He seems to be quite good-looking. Yi Wuke is also very handsome, but didn't you also ignore him? I heard that Yi Wuke has already gone to Sky Harmony City to get engaged to a girl. He probably knows that there's no hope for him to pursue you. Nolan's lips twitched. Oh yes, Sky Harmony City is just beside us. The Yi clan should have finished dealing with the Qin clan. Mo Qingqing sighed. She sighed for the sake of the Qin clan. Someone's coming. At this moment, Mo Qingqing spoke. He should be waking up soon. We should leave. After which, Mo Qingqing walked out of the grass hut and spoke to the snowy puppy in her embrace. Little fellow, are you willing to come with me? The snowy puppy stared at her, rubbing its head against her face before jumping out of her embrace. It returned to the grass hut and squatted there, staring at her. Fine, I won't force you. Since you like him, just stay by his side. Mo Qingqing helplessly spoke, before leaving with Nolan. The snowy puppy stared at her departing back, as though it was reluctant to part with her. As Mo Qingqing and Nolan entered the forest, a group of 3 youths, 2 males and 1 female, walked over. What a cute little fellow. The girl ran towards the snowy puppy, but the snowy puppy didn't seem to be interested in her. It turned around, and went back into the thatched hut. "Brother, there's someone here. He seems to be unconscious." The girl approached the straw hut and saw that Qin Wentian was unconscious, so she took off her water bottle and fed Qin Wentian a mouthful of water. "Yen the Sky Harmony City is just in front of us. Let's rest for a day before continuing on our journey. Don't be a busybody." The young man was covered in dust. In order to rush to the royal capital, a few of their horses had died from exhaustion. They were prepared to purchase a few good horses after entering the Sky Harmony City. "Got it." The young girl stuck out her tongue, looking very pretty. Ahem. At this moment, Qin Wentian coughed twice, after which he opened his eyes, only to see a beautiful face that exuded the aura of youth. "You're awake." Lu Yan couldn't help but reveal a gentle smile when she saw that Qin Wentian had woken up. Qin Wentian sat up. He discovered that other than the fact that he didn't have much strength left in his body, everything else was fine. He even felt that he had broken through to the 8th level of the body refinement realm. However, there wasn't the slightest bit of astral energy within his body. The battle that day had been too taxing for him. Controlling the demonic ape's body had almost cost him his life. No wonder Uncle Black told me not to use it unless I was in a life or death situation. Qin Wentian silently mused. However, this could be considered a blessing in disguise. He had broken through his limits and taken another step forward. What he didn't know was that the reason he could step into the 8th level of the body refinement realm was partly due to the fact that he had broken through to the 8th level of the body refinement realm. If not, with the current state of his body, it would take at least a month or two for him to recover. "Thank you for saving me." Qin Wentian thanked the girl. Obviously, he had mistaken her for someone else. "Don't mention it. Is this puppy yours? It's so adorable." The young lady laughed. Only now did Qin Wentian discover that a furry puppy with fur as white as snow had appeared beside him. Seeing that Lu Yan wanted to hug it, the puppy immediately leapt into Qin Wentian's embrace. "Lu Yan, let's hurry," another young man outside urged. "Okay," Lu Yan replied, after which she turned to Qin Wentian and said, "This puppy is so smart. No wonder it has been waiting for you. Since you're awake, I'll take my leave first. My name is Lu Yan. See you again if there's a chance." After which, she flashed a sweet smile at Qin Wentian before turning and walking out. "My name is Qin Wentian." Standing up, Qin Wentian carried the puppy and walked out. Lu Yan waved her hands at him in a carefree and unrestrained manner before slowly walking away. Qin Wentian noticed the charred wood of the thatched hut, as well as the broken pots. There seemed to be a lingering smell of medicine within. "Many thanks," Qin Wentian muttered in a low voice as he gazed at the departing Lu Yan. Not far away in the forest, 2 pairs of eyes were still staring at him. These two were none other than Mo Qingqing and Nolan. Okay, now that we've confirmed his safety, it seems that he mistook the person who saved him for someone else. Do you want to go out and explain things to him? Nolan smiled as she looked at Mo Qingqing. "Let's go." Mo Qingqing smiled as she turned and left. In the quiet thatched hut, only Qin Wentian and the snowy puppy remained. Qin Wentian curiously stared at the puppy in his arms. The fur on this puppy's body was extremely soft and plump. Its beautiful eyes seemed to have intelligence, as it inclined its head and stared back at him. "You've been waiting for me?" Qin Wentian felt a little strange. The eyes of the snowy puppy narrowed into slits, as though it was smiling at him, causing Qin Wentian to be startled. Could it be that this puppy could understand his words? "It's time for me to cultivate, you should return home," Qin Wentian said to the snowy puppy in his arms. However, the snowy puppy continued to rub itself against his chest. "Fine, if you don't wish to leave, just follow me for the time being." Qin Wentian bitterly smiled as he sat down cross-legged. Placing the snowy puppy on the ground, he began his cultivation. He wanted to know what the current situation in Sky Harmony City was like, but he needed to first recover his strength before he could protect himself. Astral light cascaded down from the 5th heavenly layer, cascading onto Qin Wentian's body. The human body was a vessel, capable of storing astral energy. The higher one's cultivation level, the larger the vessel's capacity would be. At the body refinement realm, The astral energy would be stored within the four limbs and bones, and then used to temper the body, increasing one's strength. When one stepped into the arterial circulation realm, the astral energy would be stored within the body's acupoints, allowing one to unleash an immense amount of power during battle. When night fell, Qin Wentian only felt a sense of comfort throughout his body. It was even more comfortable than before he was injured. His entire body was brimming with energy. Other than the improvement in his cultivation level, it was also because of the medicinal pills Mo Qingqing had consumed. Of course, Qin Wentian didn't know that he had consumed a second-level high-grade medicinal pill. Standing up, Qin Wentian surveyed his surroundings. This place seemed to be the forest outside the western gate of Sky Harmony City. When he was young, he had followed Qin Chuan and the rest to hunt in the depths of the forest, so he naturally recognized this place. After washing his body in the water, Qin Wentian left the forest. The snowy puppy actually followed behind him, causing Qin Wentian to sigh in amazement. Although it was nighttime, the entire Sky Harmony City was brightly lit. Lanterns were hung everywhere, and the ancient city was still brimming with life. No matter what happened in Sky Harmony City, the lives of ordinary people wouldn't change. They still loved to gather with their friends at tea houses and restaurants, discussing ancient and modern matters, discussing the heroes of the world, and drinking to their heart's content. As Qin Wentian passed by an open-air wine shop, he halted his steps. Voices drifted out from the wine shop, as the people inside were discussing the matters he wanted to know. The Qin residence is truly pitiful. Old Master Qin Wu and Clan Lord Qin Chuan were captured and sent to the royal capital. There's news that they've already been sent to the heavenly prison, and could be beheaded at any time. Even if they aren't beheaded, they would still be sentenced to death in the hands of the Yi clan. That might not be the case. The Northwest Division is stationed outside of Sky Harmony City, and it's said that they'll be moving out tonight, rushing towards the royal capital. According to reliable sources, not only the Northwest Division, but 3 out of the 8 divisions stationed at the borders of Great Chu have also moved out. The border is empty, and everyone is in a state of panic. How dare they be so audacious? Someone exclaimed. Audacious? Their ancestors all had connections with the Wu King, and now that His Majesty has even made a move against the son of the Wu King, who knows when the blame would fall on them. However, these people are smart, and have always maintained their alliance, unlike the Qin clan who willingly gave up their military power to come to Sky Harmony City. Instead, they're stationed at the borders of Great Chu. His Majesty also knows of the situation at the borders, and thus didn't act blindly without thinking. If not, the consequences would be extremely dire. This time around, the 3 divisions are moving towards the royal capital, under the banner of purging the emperor's subordinates. They spread the word that His Majesty was bewitched by the Yi clan, and wanted to kill a loyal subject. As long as the 3 divisions exist, the lives of Qin Wu and Qin Chuan will still be spared. If they were defeated, His Majesty would no longer have any misgivings, and would directly issue the order to behead them. Who would have thought that after the Wu King swept through the lands, the Chu country would be in such turmoil? The defeat of the 3 divisions is only a matter of time, and I'm afraid that they won't be able to last for another 3 years. And after the Wu King, a genius like Qin Wentian appeared in the Qin clan. However, within 3 years, it would be extremely difficult for Qin Wentian to rise again. Speaking of Qin Wentian, he's indeed a rare talent. If it weren't for you summoning the demonic ape to kill Yi Mo, the direct line of descent of the Qin clan would have been completely destroyed, and we wouldn't even be able to wait for the reinforcements from the northwest regions to arrive. However, the second son of the Qin clan, Qin He, is also very charismatic. Although he lost a leg in the incident in the Sky Harmony City, he still managed to take over the Qin clan, as well as the position of the commander of the northwest regions. At the same time, he expelled Qin Wentian from the Qin clan. Indeed, he expelled Qin Wentian from the Qin clan, removing his relationship with the Qin clan. This way, Qin Wentian would no longer have any connection to the rebel army, and Qin Wentian would still be able to enter the Emperor Star Academy in the royal capital to cultivate. With the power of the Emperor Star Academy, they would be able to guarantee Qin Wentian's safety. This is a game of attrition, and I wonder if Qin Wentian would be able to rise again before the 3 divisions fall. The Qin clan has high hopes for Qin Wentian. After all, this is the world of cultivation, and only those who can roam the world unhindered would be able to control the fate of the world. If one has enough strength, the Emperor's authority is nothing. My words are law, and with a single wave of my anger, I'll cause rivers of blood to flow. This is ultimately the world of cultivation. These people were so excited from drinking that they forgot everything else. Although they were ordinary people, they were still fantasizing about becoming experts of the martial path, looking down on the world with disdain, controlling the fate of the people. Qin Wentian, who was at the side, couldn't help but feel an indescribable feeling in his heart when he heard these words. Chapter 31. Qin Wu and Qin Chuan were escorted to the imperial city. Qin He's leg was broken, and the 3 armies were preparing to march to the imperial city. Qin Wentian understood that this was to put pressure on the royal family. Only in this way, the royal family would not dare to immediately sentence Qin Wu and Qin Chuan to death. As for why the Qin clan had expelled him from the clan, Qin Wentian was very clear. This was a covert attempt to protect him. Perhaps, after his disappearance, Senior Mustang had communicated with the Qin clan. In the world of martial arts, the strong have supreme authority. One day, if I can reach the clouds, I will definitely trample the imperial power under my feet. Qin Wentian drew in a deep breath, as a blazing flame ignited in his heart. His first astral soul originated from the 5th heavenly layer. His 2nd and 3rd astral souls would also be able to do the same, as long as he was given enough time. So what if he was the emperor? With the help of the night, Qin Wentian arrived at the Qin's mansion. From a distance, he found that there were several figures outside the gate of the Qin's mansion. They were all leading horses and carrying luggage. It seemed that they were ready for a long journey. Xiao. When Qin Wentian saw them mounting their horses, they immediately galloped over. Before long, Qin Yao and the others arrived at Qin Wentian's side. Seeing Qin Wentian, Qin Yao was stunned. Wentian. Joy appeared on Qin Yao's face as she dismounted her warhorse and rushed to Qin Wentian's side. Sis Qin Shang Qinji, where are you going? Qin Wentian asked. Wentian, grandfather and father were brought to the royal capital. The Qin clan had no choice but to send their troops to the royal capital. If they were defeated, only death awaits them. Second uncle has decided to send us to the Snowcloud country to cultivate. Qin Yao explained. Immediately, Qin Wentian understood. This battle had been forced upon them, and the result was already set in stone. Qin Yao's group leaving was the best choice. We rushed here in the middle of the night, because we were afraid of being targeted by others. The younger generation of the Qin clan will leave in batches. Wentian, when you arrive at the Emperor Star Academy, you must focus on your cultivation. Don't bother yourself with the matters of the war. Qin Yao's eyes reddened as she spoke. I know, and so do all of you. Qin Wentian nodded heavily. It was almost impossible for the flames of war to burn the imperial city. Qin He and the others knew that it was impossible, but they still did it. Oh yeah, Uncle Black has disappeared, and we can't find him. Second and third uncle are also outside the city. There's no need for you to go to the Qin residence. Just head straight to the Emperor Star Academy. Qin Yao stated. Uncle Black has gone missing? A strange expression appeared on Qin Wentian's face. He still wanted to ask what was going on with the demonic ape. Also, Uncle Black was extremely knowledgeable, and was definitely an extraordinary character. However, Uncle Black had never told him about his birth before. After witnessing the might of the demonic ape, as well as the tiny astral being left behind by his dead old fogey father, Qin Wentian wanted to know more about his birth parents. Qin Yao, let's get moving earlier. Don't let the Yi clan target us. Qin Shang walked over, as he stared at Qin Wentian. Wentian, in the Qin clan, your talent is the best. In the future, your achievements will be the highest. You must work hard to become an expert that can influence an entire country. Big brother, you too. I will definitely make the Yi clan pay the debt of blood for the sake of second uncle. Qin Wentian solemnly nodded his head. Qin Shang's father, Qin He, had lost a leg because of him. And now, for the sake of the Qin clan, Qin He had to lead an army to the south. When we arrive at the royal capital, be careful. Qin Shang heavily patted Qin Wentian on his shoulders. Wentian, we will be leaving first. Qin Yao's eyes reddened, as though she was very reluctant to part. She walked to the side of Qin Wentian and spread out her arms. Qin Wentian smiled as he hugged Qin Yao and patted her on the back. Sister, don't worry. Father will be fine. Second uncle and the rest are working hard in the army, and I will also work hard in the Emperor Star Academy. As for you, when you arrive at Snowcloud, you have to be careful. MHM. Qin Yao didn't want to let go even after a long time. Only after Qin Shang and Qin Ji mounted their warhorses did Qin Yao reluctantly part with Qin Wentian. At this moment, traces of tears could already be seen on her face. Her tears turned into a smile as she stared at Qin Wentian. Smelly brat. The next time we meet, you must become a true iron-blooded man, able to protect me, your sister. After speaking, Qin Yao turned, and with a single step, she leaped onto her warhorse. Jia! Qin Yao shouted, and the warhorse galloped madly. She didn't even turn her head back to look at Qin Wentian, and left like the wind. Qin Shang and Qin Ji followed behind, and the silhouettes of the three of them gradually disappeared into the distance. Who? Qin Wentian clenched his fists tightly as he cast a glance in the direction of the Qin residence. His heart was filled with an incomparably strong conviction. Become stronger. I must become stronger. Shouldn't you be on your way as well? At this moment, a voice drifted over. Qin Wentian turned, only to see a silhouette walking in his direction. His eyes involuntarily narrowed. I guessed that you would return. I've already been waiting for you for a few days. Francis led 2 horses over. Humph. Qin Wentian snorted, as a cold light flickered in his eyes. The arrogant image of Murin from the Star River Association had left a deep impression on him. I know you hate the Star River Association, but all of this has nothing to do with me. Murin didn't manage to control you, so he directly returned to the royal capital. I believe that even if Yi Emo died, the benefits promised to him by the Yi clan wouldn't be small. Murin took away all the divine inscriptions you gave me. Not a single one was left behind. Francis's voice was filled with coldness. What does this have to do with me? Qin Wentian asked. I wish to acknowledge you as my master. Francis's words caused Qin Wentian to be stunned. This arrogant weaponsmith Francis wanted to acknowledge him as his master? I know you doubt my character. Over 10 years ago, when I became a stellar martial cultivator, my talent wasn't high enough and my perception was weak. At that time, there was a weaponsmith who told me that I could improve my perception by comprehending divine inscriptions. Hence, I followed him and became his apprentice for a total of 10 years. However, he only bestowed me with the simplest of divine inscriptions. Francis was still enraged as he recalled the events of the past. 10 years. I wasted an entire 10 years of my time, but I still managed to enter the Star River Association, just by relying on the simplest of divine inscriptions. I worked hard unceasingly, obtaining new divine inscriptions, and finally had some achievements today. As long as I could comprehend second-level divine inscriptions, I would have a chance to become a second-level weaponsmith. Alas, all my hopes were destroyed by Murin. The second-level divine inscriptions Qin Wentian had given him, he initially wanted to slowly comprehend them. But now, they were all snatched away by Murin. I, Francis, am not a good person, but since I've received rewards, I will definitely forge divine weapons for others. Even if the quality of the weapons are inferior, I will still have a bottom line. But Murin doesn't have a bottom line. But so what? If I don't have any good fortune, I can only look up to him for the rest of my life. Even if I hate him, so what? Qin Wentian could feel the despair in Francis's heart. Everyone had their own story. Francis's path had been extremely difficult, yet Murin had easily snatched away his hope. So what? Qin Wentian calmly replied. Naturally, he wouldn't let his heart overflow with sympathy. Qin Wentian, your talent is extremely shocking. You can easily comprehend second-level divine inscriptions that others are unable to comprehend. If you were to use this to forge weapons, you would be able to obtain an astronomical amount of rewards. However, I believe that you would rather spend more of your time on the path of cultivation. As for the other matters, I can help you take care of them. I don't want any of the resources you obtain. I will use them all to pave the way for you. Qin Wentian's heart stirred. He naturally understood that a weaponsmith would be able to obtain an astronomical amount of rewards easily. But if one wanted to forge weapons, it wasn't enough just to comprehend divine inscriptions. One would need to spend a large amount of time to gather the required materials. In the future, he definitely wouldn't spend too much time on this. Francis's words had obviously moved him. Although Francis had his own motives in this world, who would help others for no reason. You are a weaponsmith, yet you want to take me as your master? Don't you feel that this is beneath your status? Qin Wentian continued. The only thing he could give Francis was divine inscriptions. You should know that it's easy to add flowers to a brocade, but it's hard to send charcoal in snowy weather. How can I, Francis, be so short-sighted? Although you are currently facing many difficulties, as long as you can endure them, in the future, I'm afraid that I won't even have the qualifications to carry your shoes. At that time, would you still be interested in me, a mere Francis? To me, taking you as my master is an extremely honorable thing. Also, I really want to witness the rise of a genius with my own eyes. I want to see you ruthlessly trample that bastard Mu Qing under your feet. When you look down on him, I want to see if he can still hold his head high and look at us with arrogant and contemptuous eyes. Francis's eyes were still burning with rage. Only by borrowing the strength of Qin Wentian would he be able to trample Murin under his feet. He had placed all his hopes and dreams on Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian stared at Francis before shifting his gaze onto the steeds behind him. Is one of those steeds prepared for me? Of course, Francis replied, as he stared at Qin Wentian with some nervousness. Qin Wentian stepped forward as he mounted one of the steeds. At the same time, a snow-white silhouette, akin to a mirage, instantly leapt onto the back of the steed. This fellow, what an incredible speed! Qin Wentian glanced at the snowy puppy before squeezing his thighs together, causing the steed to gallop forward. Master, wait for me. Francis broke into a smile as he witnessed this scene. His silhouette flickered as he leapt onto another steed and chased after Qin Wentian. With a trembling smile, he stated, Master, do you think you should first give your disciple some gifts for becoming my disciple? For example, some second or third level divine inscriptions. Qin Wentian stared at the shameless smile on Francis's face. Rolling his eyes, he scolded, Scram. After speaking, the steed beneath Qin Wentian's feet increased in speed as he madly galloped away, preparing to rush through the night towards the royal capital. Haha, Murin, you son of a bitch. Just you wait. Francis laughed loudly as he continued to chase after Qin Wentian. Not too long later, the two of them dashed out of the Sky Harmony City, galloping on the main road. Under the starry sky, dust and sand were kicked up into the air. Qin Wentian turned his head back and cast a glance at the towering city walls, as an incomparably resolute look could be seen in his eyes. This was the first time Qin Wentian had ventured into a faraway place. As the wind blew past, the pass was buried under the dust and sand. He had arrived in the iron-blooded world of the martial Tao, filled with gratitude and grudges. Chapter 32. The royal capital of the Chu country was incomparably vast, spanning tens of thousands of miles. It was the largest city in the Chu country, and had the highest population, 10 times that of Sky Harmony City. At this moment, at the foot of the royal capital, the travel-worn Qin Wentian sat atop his horse. Lifting his head, he stared at the towering city walls, as his heart trembled. This city wall was 15 feet tall, and was constructed from special materials. Even a cultivator at the peak of the body refinement realm would not be able to move it. Master, we've arrived. Let's enter the city. Francis spoke in a low voice. Qin Wentian lightly nodded his head, as the two of them dismounted and walked towards the direction of the city gates, queuing up to enter the royal capital. Within the royal capital, The bluestone pavement was tens of meters wide, and the roars of demonic beasts could be heard. So many experts and many of their mounts are actually demonic beasts. Qin Wentian drew in a deep breath, as waves of emotion surged in his heart. Not far away from him, there was a gigantic demonic beast. It was an azure ape, and on its shoulder stood a young man, exuding an awe-inspiring aura. This azure ape was a 4th-grade demonic beast, comparable to a cultivator at the arterial circulation realm. Demonic beasts were divided into 9 grades. 1st-grade demonic beasts, comparable to the lower 3 levels of the body refinement realm. 2nd-grade demonic beasts, comparable to the middle 3 levels of the body refinement realm. 3rd-grade demonic beasts, comparable to the upper 3 levels of the body refinement realm. Based on this, a 9th-grade demonic beast was already comparable to a cultivator at the peak of Yuanfu. After the 9th grade, demonic beasts could transform and shed their demonic forms. Junior brother. At this moment a voice drifted over. Qin Wentian turned his gaze over, only to see 2 silhouettes walking towards him from the side of the road. It was actually Luo Huan and Mountain from the Emperor Star Academy. A smile appeared on Qin Wentian's face as he asked, "Why are you guys here? Isn't it because of you, junior brother?" Luo Huan walked over and held onto Qin Wentian's arm, as her voluptuous body came into contact with Qin Wentian's, causing a bitter smile to appear on Qin Wentian's face. This senior sister of his was really. The Yi clan would often keep an eye on this place. Teacher naturally has to be more cautious. Elder sister has suffered a few days of hardship because of you. Luo Huan's voice was like an orchid, and her eyes were like silk. Many thanks, senior sister. Qin Wentian's heart was filled with gratitude. Teacher Mustang was very considerate. He was afraid that the Yi clan would plot against him. Little guy, you still know how to be shy. I won't tease you anymore. Seeing the awkward look on Qin Wentian's face, Luo Huan let go of her hand. After which, her gaze landed on the snowy puppy on Qin Wentian's shoulder. What a beautiful little fellow. Come over to big sister. The eyes of the snowy puppy narrowed as it leaped into the embrace of Luo Huan. What caused everyone to be dumbfounded was that the snowy puppy's paws were placed on Luo Huan's chest, as though it was scratching something. A beautiful ravine could be faintly seen, causing black lines to appear on Qin Wentian's face. Why did he feel as though he had taken in a perverted dog? Luo Huan also froze for a moment, before she started giggling. Her beautiful eyes stared at Qin Wentian, causing Qin Wentian to perspire in shame. You seem to understand your master's thoughts very well, but you're even more daring than him. Luo Huan hugged the snowy puppy as she spoke. Black lines appeared on Qin Wentian's forehead, and at this moment, Luo Huan blew a whistle, causing the sound of an eagle to resound through the air. After which, a black eagle swooped down, landing in front of Luo Huan. Junior brother Qin, my name is Mountain. Luo Huan is always like this, you'll get used to it. Let's go up. Mountain seemed to be much more simple and honest, as he grinned at Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian nodded his head, thinking that he had to maintain his composure in order to be together with Luo Huan. The temptation was simply too great. The royal capital is very vast. If we don't fly, I don't know how long we'll have to walk. Let's go up, and I'll introduce you to the royal capital. Mountain laughed, appearing very easygoing. However, Qin Wentian had personally witnessed Mountain summoning his demonic ape astral soul and stone golem astral soul. His combat prowess was extremely tyrannical, and his defense was extremely terrifying. Qin Wentian abandoned their horses, and the 4 of them mounted the black eagle. The black eagle let out a shrill cry as it soared into the skies, flying forward. Instantly, a gust of astral wind blew past, causing their robes to flutter. Junior brother Qin, although the royal capital is vast, the distribution of population is very orderly. The area we're currently in is known as the Slums District. In other words, it's a place for those who don't have any power or influence, as well as those who temporarily come to the royal capital. This area is the largest, and the population is also the densest. It occupies half of the entire royal capital, with a population of tens of millions. Mountain's words caused Qin Wentian to be inwardly shocked. Looking down from the skies, he could see a bustling scene below, There were towering buildings, streams of people coming and going, and demonic beasts that could be used as mounts were extremely common. Even Sky Harmony City couldn't be compared to such a bustling place. The royal capital can be divided into 7 main districts. The slums district is the first district. The chaotic district is the second district. The 9 great academies, as well as countless clans, are the third district. The Star River Association Divine Weapon Pavilion, as well as other major clans, are the fourth district. The nobility and aristocrats are the fifth district. The Royal Palace is the sixth district, and the Dark Forest is the seventh district. Mountain first roughly explained the layout of the royal capital, before explaining in detail. So it turned out that outside of the royal capital was the Dark Forest. Half of the royal capital was enveloped by this forest of demonic beasts. In other words, the Royal Palace, the Divine Weapon Pavilion, the Star River Association, the Divine Weapon Pavilion, and the 9 great academies were all surrounded by the same dangerous dark forest. They viewed this dangerous dark forest as a place to temper themselves. The royal capital was extremely vast, and there were countless clans of varying sizes. And the 9 academies were located in the heart of the royal capital. The speed of the Black Eagles was extremely terrifying, and only after 4 hours did they stop and hover in the air. Yah! Roar! The howls and howls of the demonic beasts continued unceasingly. Qin Wentian couldn't help but narrow his eyes as he stared at the horde of demonic beasts hovering in the air, as well as the mounts of the demonic beasts below. What is this place? Qin Wentian's heart trembled. Below him, there were many paths that led to a gigantic arched door. The other side of the arched door was extremely spacious, and although there were many people here, there were no demonic beasts hovering in the air. Haha, we've already passed the first and second district. In front of us is the district of the 9 academies. After we pass through that door, we will reach the core of the royal capital. On the other side of that door, ordinary people are not allowed to fly. Only Yuanfu realm cultivators have the privilege to do so. And behind that arched door is our destination, the location where the various academies conduct their recruitment tests. Come, let's descend. As the sound of Luo Huan's voice faded, the Black Eagle swooped down, landing on the ground. The endless stream of people were all heading towards the arched door. The start of spring is also the recruitment period for the academies. Many of the young talents of the Chu country would choose to come here. How could there not be many people? Qin Wentian silently mused. In the Sky Harmony City, weren't there also countless people who yearned to enroll in the royal capital? Junior brother Qin, there's no need for you to undergo the recruitment test. You can directly go to the examiner to receive your Emperor Star Jade Medallion. And after that, you can enter the academy. This Emperor Star Jade Medallion is something that only our Emperor Star Academy possesses, and is extremely important. Only the examiners are allowed to bring it with them every year. Hence, Teacher Mustang didn't give it to you. Mountain spoke to Qin Wentian as they walked. Okay. Qin Wentian lightly nodded his head. At this moment, a crowd of people squeezed past. What's going on? Mountain furrowed his brows as he turned his head, only to see the crowd rapidly parting to 2 sides. Behind them, there were dragon horses pulling the sedan, as countless people tiptoed in the direction of the crowd. It's that last, no wonder it's so lively. Luo Huan lightly smiled, as the sedan slowly moved forward. Through the veil, one could faintly see the silhouettes of 2 graceful figures within. Swish! The snowy puppy in Luo Huan's arms instantly dashed out, dashing straight towards the sedan, causing Qin Wentian to be stunned. Inside the sedan, Mo Qingqing also froze when she saw a snow-white silhouette leaping into her embrace. After which she exclaimed in surprise, "Little rascal, why are you here?" Nolan, who was beside her, rolled her eyes. This little rascal is really like a haunting spirit that won't go away. Mo Qingqing rolled her eyes at Nolan, as a light smile appeared on her face. Stretching out her hands, she pulled open the curtains, causing the gazes of many to freeze. How beautiful! So this is the #1 beauty in the Chu country. She's too beautiful. If I could share a bed with her, I would be willing to die the next day. What a beautiful woman! Qin Wentian had seen many beauties before. Qin Yao and Autumn Snow were all beauties of the Sky Harmony City, but when compared to this young lady in front of him, they all seemed to pale in comparison. Mo Qingqing also saw Qin Wentian, and after which, she gently smiled at Qin Wentian, before pulling the curtains closed. She smiled at me. A person beside Qin Wentian had a dumbfounded expression on his face. She seemed to be smiling at me. Hearing the words of the people around him, Qin Wentian blinked his eyes. Could it be that he had the same feeling as the people around him? Earlier, he felt that the young lady had smiled at him. Is she beautiful? A voice rang out. Yes. Qin Wentian replied in a very natural manner. After which, his countenance stiffened, as he turned his head and smiled bitterly at Luo Huan. Senior sister is as beautiful as her. However, Luo Huan didn't fall for this, as she giggled and stared at him. Based on senior sister's charm, she's definitely more attractive compared to her, Qin Wentian replied, his voice trembling. What a sweet mouth. Luo Huan smiled. But that lass is definitely a calamitous beauty. No wonder you were dazed for a moment. If I were a man, I would also fall for the #1 beauty of Chu. Hee. Mountain, who was at the side, scratched his head in agreement. But that's just wishful thinking. Among the 10 prodigies of the royal capital, there were quite a few who wanted to get their hands on her. But none of them were able to gain her favor. Seems like you still have some self-awareness. Luo Huan giggled. And at this moment, the snowy puppy transformed into a blur as it leapt into her embrace. What a lecherous dog. Luo Huan glared at little rascal, only to see it snuggling deeper into her embrace, looking at her with a pair of aggrieved eyes, causing one's heart to melt. In the sedan, Nolan asked Mo Qingqing, "Is it really him?" "Yes, I didn't expect him to come to the royal capital, and that little fellow followed him." Mo Qingqing nodded her head. "I wonder why he came to the royal capital." "Why? Our great beauty Mo is showing concern for someone?" Nolan giggled as she looked at Mo Qingqing. "No way." Mo Qingqing glared at Nolan. "That's right. After all, our great beauty Mo saved the life of someone else, and you even had intimate contact with him. It's only normal for you to show concern for him. Sadly, that fellow doesn't even know you." Nolan continued with a smile. Mo Qingqing bitterly shook her head. She was merely curious. Chapter 33. After Mo Qingqing left, Qin Wentian and the rest followed the stream of people as they walked towards the gigantic arched gate. After passing through the gate, countless youths could be seen in the vast area. The atmosphere was extremely lively, and the majority of them were around 15 to 16 years of age, exuding a youthful aura. Today is the registration deadline for the various academies, so there are many people. Mountain spoke. Qin Wentian also discovered that in this vast area, there were 9 groups of people queuing up to register and participate in the initial examination. Look, in the center of the area, there are many people from our Emperor Star Academy. Mountain pointed to an area in front of them. Many people were nervously queuing up there, and there were also many who left in disappointment. Evidently, they had failed the initial examination and were disqualified. Why is he the one who came today? At this moment, Mountain furrowed his brows as he stared at the examination elder of the Emperor Star Academy. Qin Wentian looked at Mountain with a puzzled expression. Mountain explained, "This examination elder is named Janice. Our Emperor Star Academy has a transcendent status in the Chu country, but some of the elders of the academy have different views on how the Emperor Star Academy should handle matters. Teacher Mustang advocates to be aloof from worldly affairs and not interact with the royal clan or the rich and powerful. As for this Janice, he has the opposite opinion and is closer to the rich and powerful. Also, the reason why the Emperor Star Academy wasn't domineering enough in the past was because of this group of people." Qin Wentian's countenance stiffened as he understood. If the Emperor Star Academy had been domineering back then, Mustang wouldn't have been the only one to bring people to the Sky Harmony City to protect him. "Let's go. Since the person is already here, what can he do?" Luo Huan's beautiful eyes narrowed, as she felt that something was wrong. Logically speaking, he shouldn't be the one who came today. The few of them walked forward, and very quickly, They arrived at the entrance of the Emperor Star Academy. At this moment, there was a long queue at the recruitment area of the Emperor Star Academy. As the most prestigious academy in the Chu country, the number of people who wished to enroll in the Emperor Star Academy was undoubtedly the highest. Even people from the neighboring countries would cross the border to enroll. The Emperor Star Academy's recruitment policy didn't have any restrictions. It only depended on one's talent. However, the elimination rate of the Emperor Star Academy was also the highest. When the youths in the queue saw Rohuan's hot figure, they couldn't help but let their imagination run wild. After all, they were at the age where they were full of vigor and vitality. Just as Luo Huan and Qin Wentian were about to reach the front, a white-robed figure blocked their path. This person had a pair of sword-like eyebrows and was extremely handsome. He looked to be around 18 years of age and exuded an aura of sharpness. Junior brother Qin, this person's name is Orkan. His cultivation base is at the 8th level of the arterial circulation realm, and he has been cultivating in the Emperor Star Academy for 2 years. He's extremely strong, so you have to be careful of him. Mountain silently reminded. Senior brother O. Luo Huan walked towards Orkan as she smiled. I'm here to collect my Emperor Star Jade Medallion from Elder Jiang. Orkan calmly glanced at Luo Huan, before shifting his gaze onto Qin Wentian. His gaze was as sharp as a spear, piercing into Qin Wentian's eyes as he coldly stated, "Line up." Orkan has already passed Teacher Mustang's test in the Sky Harmony City. Luo Huan's countenance turned cold. Orkan's countenance was as calm as ever. He stared at Luo Huan as he coldly stated, "So what of it?" "Humph." Luo Huan coldly snorted before shifting her gaze onto Janice. "Elder Janice, Luo Huan is here to collect the Emperor Star Jade Medallion under the orders of my teacher." Janice acted as though he hadn't heard her words. He continued staring ahead as he stated, "Line up." "Teacher Janice, Teacher Mustang has already passed the test." Luo Huan's countenance turned unsightly when she saw that Janice didn't even spare her a glance. Was he using his position to avenge a personal grudge? Back in the academy, she had always been on the opposing side of Orkan, as well as Janice and Mustang. Janice shifted his gaze onto Luo Huan and Qin Wentian, his countenance as cold as Orkan's. "He did pass Mustang's test, but he didn't pass mine. We've already discussed this with the 9 academies. Today will be the last day of the test, and for those who pass the initial test, they will participate in a joint operation of the 9 academies. All of them will be sent into the dark forest to hunt demonic beasts, and only those who survive will be able to join the 9 academies. So it's the same for him as well. Even if I approve of Mustang's test, if he wants to obtain the Emperor Star Jade Medallion, he must first come out alive." "How long is the duration of the test?" Luo Huan coldly asked. 1 month. Janice replied. "If you don't wish to participate, you can choose to give up and scram back to Sky Harmony City." At this moment, a youth appeared beside Orkan, as he swept his cold gaze over to Qin Wentian. At this moment, Qin Wentian felt many gazes landing on him. His perception had always been very strong, and as he turned his head, he discovered that from the direction of the Royal Academy, there were a few gazes directed at him. Among them, there was a person dressed in green, and was extremely beautiful. Her gaze was filled with a faint coldness as she stared at him. Astonishingly, it was Autumn Snow. The Bai clan had already moved to the royal capital, and Autumn Snow had arrived at the Royal Academy. She would also be participating in the 9 academies' joint training. "Junior brother Qin, they want to deal with you." Mountain spoke to Qin Wentian. "Earlier, I warned you to be careful of Orkan because his relationship with Yi Wuke is quite good." Qin Wentian's heart was as clear as a mirror. He didn't expect that the moment he stepped into the royal capital, there would be someone who had already cast a net for him, ready to swallow him whole. Of course, the majority of the people from the 9 academies didn't know that the reason for the joint training, other than to temper the new students, was because of Qin Wentian. The majority of them didn't know who Qin Wentian was. They only knew that this was the final round of the test, and there would be danger to their lives. Not long ago, the 9 academies had informed everyone that if they were worried about the danger, they could give up. Luo Huan stared at Janice as she asked, "How is the fairness of the test this time?" "The martial house of the 9 academies will join hands, and all the participants will enter the dark forest. In addition, each martial house will send 2 elders and 4 old students to oversee the dark forest." "What do you want to question?" Janice said coldly. "Who are the elders and students of my Emperor Star Academy?" Luo Huan asked again. "Me and Mustang. The students are naturally the old students under me and him. Mustang is already aware of this matter, and he has already agreed to it." Janice coldly laughed. Luo Huan nodded her head as she turned her gaze to Qin Wentian, only to see Qin Wentian smiling as he replied, "I will participate in the training this time." At the instant he agreed, Qin Wentian could clearly see the lips of the youth beside Orkan curling up in a cold smile. "Let's go to the side and rest." Luo Huan led Qin Wentian and the rest away. "Junior brother Qin, there will most likely be people who will deal with you during this test. You have to be careful. Not only that, the dark forest is already filled with demonic beasts, and it's extremely dangerous." Mountain spoke to Qin Wentian. "I will respect Teacher Mustang's decision. As for the other students, as well as the demonic beasts, I will deal with them carefully." Qin Wentian replied. "Since you said this, I'm sure you already know what to do. However, junior brother, you must not underestimate these students, especially those from the noble clans of the Emperor Star Academy and the Royal Academy. Although they are still young, some of them possess extraordinary talent." Luo Huan reminded. Let's wait for the training to begin." Qin Wentian nodded his head in agreement, as his gaze inadvertently drifted towards the direction of autumn snow. Over there, autumn snow was surrounded by many youths, as though she was the moon surrounded by the stars. Other than her own talent, it was also because of Yi Wuke. "Master, why don't I find a place to stay in the royal capital first?" Francis suggested to Qin Wentian. "Fine, do as you wish." Qin Wentian had no objections. "I will wait for Master to come out." Francis smiled as he departed. He believed that Qin Wentian would be able to overcome this crisis. He was still waiting for Qin Wentian to become a powerful Grandmaster weaponsmith, standing in front of Murin. The examinations of the 9 great academies were in full swing, but it had nothing to do with Qin Wentian. He was currently chatting with Luo Huan and Mountain. Far away from this vast public square, a gigantic demonic beast hovered in the air. This demonic beast had the form of a lion, but it had a pair of wings. It was a terrifying 8th-level griffin, and standing on top of it were 2 silhouettes. One was Mustang, and the other was an old man. "Master," Janice agreed to the proposal of the Royal Academy. "Why didn't you stop him?" Mustang looked at the old man with a puzzled expression. "Mustang, do you hold this young man in high regard?" The old man smiled. I won't hide it from Master. I really like this young man. If not, I wouldn't have invited you to personally participate in the tempering exercise in the dark forest. Since you like him so much, why don't you let him go?" The old man smiled as he stared at the vast testing grounds. There are some good seedlings in this batch of students, and their overall standards are all very high. I'm filled with anticipation for the upcoming tempering exercise. Mustang smiled bitterly as he silently mused in his heart. "Little fellow, I wish you good luck." "Grandpa, you were looking for me?" At this moment, a white demonic crane soared into the skies, and on its back, the number 1 beauty of Chu, Mo Qingqing, could be seen. This time around, follow Mustang into the dark forest. Don't always stay at home." The old man laughed as he turned and departed. "Mustang, this griffin will follow you. Take good care of Qingqing." Mustang froze. He didn't know what his master meant by this. Shifting his gaze, he nodded his head lightly at Mo Qingqing, feeling a sense of awe in his heart. His master's granddaughter, Mo Qingqing, was someone he had rarely seen before. This was a woman that could cause the aristocrats of Chu to go crazy. Yet his master actually allowed her to follow him into the dark forest. Chapter 34. As the sun set in the west, the number of people in this vast region gradually lessened. The initial examination had ended, and the 9 martial academies had stopped their recruitment. Many people left in disappointment, while those who stayed behind gradually moved towards the direction of the Emperor Star Academy and the Royal Academy. At this moment, a white-robed figure with a long sword strapped to his back walked towards Qin Wentian and the rest. Qin Wentian had seen this young man before. He was none other than the sword-type astral soul cultivator back in the Sky Harmony City. Luo Huan Mountain, teacher wants you guys to go over. Yufei walked over as he called out to Luo Huan and the rest. Did teacher say which two of us are to enter the dark forest? Luo Huan asked. According to Janice and Mustang could each bring 2 veteran students with them. You and the other person. Teacher didn't say who it was, Yufei replied. We'll know when we get there. Okay. Luo Huan nodded, and the group of them walked towards the direction of the gathering crowd. Out of the 9 martial academies, there were a total of 5,000 people who had the qualifications to participate in the Dark Forest. This was an extremely terrifying number. But if one thought about the number of people who had registered, they would understand that this ratio was already 1 out of 100. The 9 martial academies of the royal capital were the gathering place for the elites of Chu. If you want to become strong, you have to face all sorts of dangers head-on. This will be your first lesson, so enjoy it. At this moment, in the direction of the Royal Academy, a person shouted to the crowd. The countenances of the youths were all solemn. They were clear that without the experience of blood, one couldn't be considered a true cultivator. Bzzz. Not far away in the sky, a raging wind gusted as 2 demonic beasts flew over. Upon seeing the silhouette on the back of one of the demonic beasts, the gazes of the crowd froze. How beautiful, it's Mo Qingqing. She actually came. In this region, cultivators below Yuanfu were not allowed to ride on demonic beasts, but Mo Qingqing could. Nobody doubted her. Janice and Orkan were taken aback when they saw Mo Qingqing and Mustang together. However, they soon turned to the crowd and spoke. Since we're all here, let's move out. Everyone, run at full speed. We have to enter the dark forest before sunset. Junior brother, take care of yourself. Luo Huan smiled at Qin Wentian as she walked forward to lead the group. That lecherous snowy puppy actually remained in her embrace, not moving an inch. Junior brother Qin, I'll wait for you at the academy. Mountain patted Qin Wentian on his shoulders. The representatives of the various academies all lined up in their battle formations and set off. Numerous demonic beasts soared into the skies, with the teachers standing on top of them, while the students sprinted on the ground towards them. The dark forest enveloped half of the imperial city. It was obviously impossible for them to advance forward. Wouldn't that mean that they would have to pass through the imperial palace? The Emperor Star Academy had the least number of people, with only 500, while the Royal Academy had over 800. When they sprinted with all their might, the earth trembled, as though there were tens of thousands of horses galloping at full speed. Everywhere they passed, a strong gust of wind would kick up. Many passers-by had smiles on their faces as they stared at these youthful silhouettes. These people would be the future pillars of Chu. Hey! In the camp of the Emperor Star Academy, a smiling fatty stood beside Qin Wentian as he called out to him. Although their speed was extremely fast, to those who had already stepped onto the martial path, it didn't require too much energy. Hence, they were able to chat casually. What's your name? The fat youth asked. Qin Wentian. What about you? Fan Le, fan as in ordinary, Lu as in happy. The fat youth laughed. Qin Wentian cast a glance at him. He was wearing an ordinary robe, with messy hair and a smile on his face. This name really suits you. Qin Wentian laughed. Hee. Fan Le grinned, as he shifted his gaze onto the young lady on top of the flying crane. He whispered, "This is the #1 beauty of Chu. She's so beautiful, causing my little heart to palpitate wildly." Qin Wentian involuntarily rolled his eyes upon seeing the intoxicated look on Fan Li's face. However, he had to admit that Mo Qingqing was indeed beautiful. However, senior sister Luo Huan is more suitable to my taste. That figure, that ample bosom, hee. Fan Le had a wretched expression on his face. You're acquainted with senior sister Luo Huan? Qin Wentian asked. How could I possibly be acquainted with her? I've only heard about her from others. Who doesn't know of the #1 demoness of our Emperor Star Academy? Hee. Fan Le laughed, as he turned his head to look at Qin Wentian. You look so serious, but in your heart, are you also? Looking at the wretched expression on Fan Li's face, Qin Wentian rolled his eyes as he cursed in a low voice. Scram! This fellow was definitely a genius. Don't pretend, hee. Fan Le revealed a you-know-what expression, causing Qin Wentian to be speechless. However, the royal capital of Chu is indeed filled with geniuses and beauties. Over there, Autumn Snow from the Royal Academy is extremely beautiful. It's said that she has already condensed an astral soul from the third heavenly layer. Fan Le pointed to the group of people from the Royal Academy, as he spoke to Qin Wentian. And our Emperor Star Academy is also filled with geniuses. Look at that gigolo at the front. His name is Orphan. He's extremely strong, at the second level of arterial circulation, and has 2 astral souls. Fan Le then pointed to a youth at the front. It was none other than the youth standing beside Orphan earlier. It seemed like they were brothers. And look over there, that beautiful girl dressed in black. She's at the first level of arterial circulation, and has 2 astral souls. Her figure isn't bad either, just that some parts of her body are slightly imperfect. Fan Le mused. However, do you know who the #1 genius of our Emperor Star Academy is this year? Who? Qin Wentian curiously asked. Right in front of you. The flesh on Fan Li's face crumpled together, and his smile was as shameless as it could get. Fan Le, you're bragging to others again. A person ran over, smiling as he glanced at Fan Le. Evidently, this person had bragged in front of Qin Wentian before. Qin Wentian laughed. Although this Fan Le loved to brag, he was also humorous, causing others to feel that he was interesting. As the sun set, 9 gigantic groups of people crossed the eastern heavenly gate of the royal capital. The royal capital was surrounded by the dark forest. In the 3,000 years of history of the Chu country, there had been many demonic beasts from the dark forest. Hence, the city gates of the dark forest were so tall that they pierced through the heavens, resembling a heavenly moat. After crossing the eastern heavenly gate, there was another city that connected the royal capital to the dark forest. As a buffer zone, there were many adventurers and cultivators in this city. When they saw the people from the 9 camps rushing through the city like a hurricane, they were all dumbfounded. Could it be that these are the students from the 9 martial academies? They are indeed full of vigor. So many handsome guys and pretty girls, haha. The passing adventurers laughed as they discussed. Continue forward. You guys will set up camp in the dark forest. In the air, a clear voice drifted over, causing the hearts of the people to shiver. For a month's worth of training, they would have to spend many nights in the dark forest. Not only that, they had to be self-sufficient and hunt for food. Night gradually descended, and at this moment, the people from the 9 camps finally arrived at the boundary of the dark forest. In front of them, ancient trees stretched as far as the eye could see, with no end in sight. A wild and demonic aura permeated the air. When everyone came to a halt, the atmosphere abruptly became exceptionally quiet. Everyone could sense that they were about to face a true crisis. In front of the dark forest, the experts from the 9 martial academies stood on the backs of demonic beasts, as they spoke to the participants. You guys will enter the dark forest now. Before dawn tomorrow, you must enter the dark forest for a distance of 10 miles. This 10-mile area will be considered the outer perimeter of the dark forest. In the following month, if anyone is discovered moving around in the outer perimeter, they will be disqualified. Now enter. The 10-mile area was considered the outer perimeter of the dark forest. Humans would frequently roam about, and there weren't any powerful demonic beasts around. Qin Wentian, let's go together. Fan Le spoke. Right. Qin Wentian nodded his head. After which, the people from the 9 camps all stepped into the dark forest. The huge formation of 5,000 people started to spread out in all 4 directions, forming groups of 2 or 3 as they advanced. With the aid of the weak astral light, Qin Wentian and Fan Le advanced through the dark forest. Some of those who were proficient in fire-type innate attribute techniques directly ignited flames, illuminating their surroundings. There were also some who used treasures like night pearls to illuminate their surroundings. Let's first enter 8 to 9 miles deep, Then find a spacious place to rest for the night. We'll continue to advance the next morning. This way, we won't be breaking the rules. Fan Le spoke in a low voice. Along the way, Qin Wentian and Fan Le also used rocks to ignite flames, as they raised their torches and advanced. There seems to be someone staring at us. As they advanced, Fan Le spoke in a low voice. Qin Wentian's heart trembled. He had also sensed it. His perception had always been extremely sharp. In the Sky Harmony City, he had killed Yi Mo and Yi Lang. Not only that, he had also displayed extraordinary talent. Evidently, the Yi clan wouldn't let him off so easily. This time around, there was a reason why Qin Wentian wanted to participate in this training exercise. At the same time, it could also temper the disciples of the various martial academies. There were only benefits to this. Hence, none of the martial academies would reject such a suggestion. Chapter 35. Before Qin Wentian stepped into the dark forest, he already knew that there would be people trying to assassinate him. But since Mustang didn't object, it must be because he wanted to temper him. My current cultivation base is at the 8th level of the body refinement realm, with a strength of over 100 bulls. Ordinary cultivators at the 1st level of the arterial circulation realm would be able to deal with me. However, if it was someone at the arterial circulation realm who had condensed a powerful astral soul, it would be extremely difficult to deal with them. Qin Wentian silently speculated as he whispered to Fan Le. Fan Le, I have an enemy. Why don't we go our separate ways? Fan Le turned his gaze over, borrowing the dim light from the fire to look at Qin Wentian's face. His eyes flashed with a strange light as he laughed. I, Fan Le, am the #1 genius of this batch. How can I abandon my comrades? Don't worry, although we've entered the dark forest, they wouldn't dare to make a move within a 10-mile radius. Now that the students have yet to disperse, it wouldn't be good if news of this were to spread out. Fan Le smiled as he continued. Let's go, there's light in front of us. Okay. Qin Wentian was a straightforward person. Although Fan Le was a little shameless, his character wasn't bad. In front of them, on a slope, there were several people who had set up simple tents. Qin Wentian. A surprised voice drifted over. Qin Wentian cast his gaze towards the entrance of a tent, and a smile appeared on his face. He had actually met someone he knew. Lu Yan, why are you here? Qin Wentian walked forward. He thought that Lu Yan was the one who saved his life previously. I'm participating in the examination for the Divine Wind Academy. Quickly extinguish the fire, and come inside the tent. The light from the fire will attract demonic beasts. Lu Yan smiled. Other than Lu Yan, there were 2 other youths in the tent. One was her brother, Lu Yu, and the other was her friend Zhua Fan. Lu Yan, why did you invite strangers in? Lu Yu frowned. Zhua Fan also had an unhappy expression on his face. Brother, this is Qin Wentian whom we met at the outskirts of Sky Harmony City. Lu Yan replied. After which, she looked at Qin Wentian and asked, Oh right, why are you here in the dark forest? Are you also participating in the examination? We will participate in the examination of the Emperor Star Academy. Straightening his robes, Fan Le walked forward and extended his hand. How do you do? My name is Fan Le, the future star of the Emperor Star Academy. Emperor Star Academy. Lu Yan's beautiful eyes flashed with a strange light as she stretched out her hand to shake Fan Le's. Lu Yan, you are so beautiful and talented. How rare, Fan Le commented. Lu Yan smiled. She wanted to retract her hand, but Fan Le didn't seem to have any intentions of letting go. Did you guys build this tent? You guys must have experience in the wilderness. Is Qin Wentian your friend? He and I are good brothers, so we are also friends. Qin Wentian stared dumbfoundedly at Fan Le's unrelenting grip. This fellow was truly one of a kind. Lu Yan blushed and finally pulled her hand back. She glanced at Qin Wentian. I don't know him. Qin Wentian was sweating profusely. He had lost too much face. The 2 of you, since we met, we are friends. Although this tent is a little simpler, why don't you 2 rest here for a night? Tomorrow, we will set off together in the morning. It would be safer that way. Lu Yu walked over, smiling at Qin Wentian and Fan Le. Yes, I shall accept your invitation. Fan Le straightforwardly agreed, while Qin Wentian stood at the side speechlessly. Lu Yen, Fan Le, I'm going out for a walk. You guys chat. Qin Wentian laughed as he walked out of the tent. This little brat. Fan Le glared at Qin Wentian before turning to Lu Yen. Lu Yen, see you later. After which he followed behind Qin Wentian. What's wrong? You don't like Lu Yen? No, Lu Yan's personality isn't bad. But her two friends don't seem to welcome us. Why do we have to stay there? Fan Le could also tell that Qin Wentian's attitude had changed when he said that he was one of the examinees of the Emperor Star Academy. In addition, there are people watching us. I need to cultivate and increase my strength. How can I disappoint them? Qin Wentian's lips curled up in a cold smile, causing Fan Le to freeze. The smile on Qin Wentian's face gave him a sense of sharpness, as though he was about to bare his fangs. Fine, I, the #1 genius of the Emperor Star Academy, will accompany them to play. Fan Le grinned. Qin Wentian ignored Fan Le's boasting. He walked towards an ancient tree and sat down cross-legged. After which he closed his eyes and started cultivating. An instant later, a humming sound echoed out from within his body, akin to the roaring of the astral sea. Fan Le's eyes narrowed. What a tyrannical cultivation art. However, it was time for him to get to work. His silhouette flickered as he dashed towards the depths of the forest. Qin Wentian, who was immersed in the astral light, felt exceptionally tranquil. However, the fluctuations within his body were incomparably violent. The astral energy frenziedly gushed into his body, tempering his internal organs, as well as his stellar meridians. The next day, before the sun had even risen, the students in this area had already awoken and were on their way. Qin Wentian opened his eyes, only to see Fan Le lying under a tree opposite him. In his hands, there was a bow as well as several arrows. Fatty, it's time to move out. Qin Wentian called out. Only then did Fan Le open his sleepy eyes, as he grinned at Qin Wentian. How did you make this bow and arrows? Qin Wentian curiously asked. Although Fan Le's bow and arrows were crude, it gave off a feeling of sharpness. I chopped down a few ancient trees and killed a few demonic beasts. Fan Le casually replied. After which he added, let's move out. Right, let's go. The two of them exchanged glances as they stood up and dashed towards the depths of the dark forest. Their speed was as fast as a hurricane, and in the blink of an eye, their silhouettes had already disappeared. A few moments later, a group of youths dashed over. The person in the lead was none other than Orphan from the Emperor Star Academy. The rest of them were also freshmen from the various academies. Chase, we can directly make our move after we pass this area. Orphan coldly commanded. The group of youths madly dashed in pursuit, resembling a pack of ferocious cheetahs. Fatty, you can actually run so fast. Qin Wentian couldn't help but click his tongue in wonder when he saw Fan Le sprinting with the speed of a wild beast. His fat body was extremely agile and nimble, and he couldn't help but click his tongue in wonder. I, your father, am a genius, Fan Le proudly declared. Qin Wentian cast a disdainful glance at him as he continued. There are a total of 6 people behind us. Orphan, 2nd level of the arterial circulation realm. As for the other 5, one is at the 1st level of the arterial circulation realm, while the other 4 are at the body refinement realm. It's going to be a little difficult. Let's grind them down a little more, Fan Le casually stated, causing Qin Wentian's eyes to flash with a brilliant light. This fatty was actually able to see through the cultivation bases of others? Could it be that he was really a genius? There are people in front of us as well. Qin Wentian gazed at a vast area in the distance. People from the Royal Academy. The one in the lead is Yi Zhan. I've seen him taking the entrance examination at the Royal Academy before. His cultivation base is at the 2nd level of the arterial circulation realm, and he even exudes killing intent. Who did you offend? Let's change directions. As Fan Le spoke, he immediately sprinted towards the left. Qin Wentian didn't hesitate as he followed after him. The Yi clan had spent a lot of effort to kill him. They were extremely powerful in the royal capital, and if he didn't enter the Emperor Star Academy, he would definitely die a violent death. Teacher Mustang had really given him a difficult problem. But even so what? This time around he had gained a good brother. Fan Le, thank you. Qin Wentian thanked him as he sprinted. Don't be sour, I, Fatty, am extremely righteous. In the future, don't forget me, Fatty. If you meet any beautiful women in the future. Fan Le grinned. The people behind were still in hot pursuit. After an hour, they had already entered the depths of the dark forest, and there were traces of demonic beasts moving about. There are still 4 people following closely behind. Fatty, what's their cultivation base? Qin Wentian inquired. Orphan, there's also that person at the first level of the arterial circulation realm, as well as 2 others at the body refinement realm. Shall we do it? Fan Le asked. Yes, Qin Wentian decisively replied, abruptly halting his steps. However, Fan Le didn't stop. He stomped on the ground and soared into the air, landing on top of a huge tree. Facing Qin Wentian, he stated, I'll control the demonic beasts, you kill them. Let's kill the 2 at the body refinement realm first. Okay. Not knowing why, Qin Wentian had an exceptional amount of trust in that shameless Fatty. Stabilizing his steps, he turned around and waited for the others to catch up. Orphan and the other 3, upon seeing that Qin Wentian had stopped, also slowed down. Their gazes were akin to that of venomous snakes as they stared at Qin Wentian, their killing intent unmasked. The 4 of them formed an arc as they advanced towards Qin Wentian. For the sake of killing me, how much strength did the Yi clan use? Qin Wentian asked as he stared at Orphan. Yi clan? Many people want to kill you. And that crippled second uncle of yours actually dared to rebel. Sooner or later, he will be executed. Qin Wu and Qin Chuan have already been sent to the death prison of the Black Stronghold. Orphan coldly laughed, as he waved his hands. Momentarily, the 3 on his left and right simultaneously dashed towards Qin Wentian, their killing intent unconcealed. Swish! Abruptly, a terrifying sharp arrow pierced through the air from behind Qin Wentian, shooting towards Orphan with a speed as fast as lightning. Left. Fan Le's voice drifted over. Qin Wentian immediately dashed towards the body refinement realm cultivator on the left. Swish, swish, swish. Arrows unceasingly pierced through the air, shooting towards the 3 at the same time. Only the one on the left was left for Qin Wentian. Break. Orphan's astral soul manifested, as the astral light coalesced into a long spear, emitting a howl of rage as it pierced towards the arrow in front of him. However, at this moment, the arrow trembled slightly, and actually changed its trajectory, brushing past the long spear, and piercing straight towards the center of Orphan's brows. How could this be? Orphan's countenance drastically changed, as he hurriedly blasted out with his left palm, causing a raging wind to kick up. However, he only saw his body explosively retreating, as the arrow was blocked. Despite that, the arrow still managed to pierce through Orphan's palm, causing fresh blood to flow out from it. An arrow that can change direction. Orphan wasn't the only one who suffered such a fate. The other 2 didn't fare too well either. One of the body refinement realm cultivators was directly pierced through the center of his brows, dying under the power of that arrow. At the moment when they were struck by the arrow, Qin Wentian lunged towards the body refinement realm cultivator on the left, punching out with a punch akin to the roar of a true dragon. The 9 Heavens dragon roar contained boundless might, and the instant the body refinement realm cultivator punched out, he instantly regretted his decision. His strength simply couldn't be compared to Qin Wentian. The sound of bones shattering rang out. Qin Wentian's dragon subduing fist was like a hot knife through butter. The body refinement realm cultivator didn't even have the time to release his astral soul before he was smashed into smithereens. In the blink of an eye, Fan Le and Qin Wentian had already killed 2 people. Chapter 36. Qin Wentian turned his head, only to see Fan Le leaping into the air, sprinting across the treetops. His movements were as agile as ever. Awesome, Qin Wentian smiled at Fan Le. Fan Le steadied himself, and once again pulled the bowstring back into a full crescent shape. 3 arrows were knocked on the bowstring. Fatty, I'm a genius. Fan Le grinned. Qin Wentian couldn't help but admit that this shameless Fatty was indeed a genius. You better not meddle in other people's business, or you'll die a horrible death. Orphan's eyes flashed with a ruthless light as he stared at Fan Le. I'll deal with the one beside me first. Fan Le continued grinning, as though he hadn't heard Orphan's words. Qin Wentian nodded his head, as he shifted his gaze onto the youth beside Orphan, his eyes filled with coldness. As the sound of Fan Li's voice faded, the 3 arrows simultaneously broke through the air, transforming into 3 sharp swords that shot towards Orphan. At the instant the arrows broke through the air, Fan Li's palms once again pulled out another 3 arrows from the sheath on his back. His movements were incomparably skillful, and this time around, an arrow-type astral soul appeared behind his back, incomparably resplendent. In the 9 heavenly layers, there were trillions of constellations, and all of them were constellations. Fan Li's astral soul was condensed from a crescent moon-shaped astral soul. In that instant, the arrows in Fan Li's hands were imbued with astral light, as they once again pierced through the air. Qin Wentian was already in the midst of clashing with the other person. Both of them released their astral souls. The heavenly hammer astral soul was incomparably resplendent, while the opponent's astral soul was in the form of an ice mountain. Pung! As the two of them clashed once again, Qin Wentian only felt a surge of frigid energy penetrating into his body, wanting to freeze his astral meridians. His opponent's arms were numb from the impact. Qin Wentian was only at the 8th level of the body refinement realm, yet his strength was so terrifying. What's going on? All of a sudden, Qin Wentian furrowed his brows, as he sensed a terrifying demonic qi gushing in his direction. There's a group of demonic beasts. Qin Wentian, kill them. Fan Li's countenance grew heavy. This time around he gave up on using self-made arrows. Instead, he directly used astral energy to form arrows, piercing through the air towards Qin Wentian's opponent, directly sealing his opponent's path of retreat. Boom! The astral energy within Qin Wentian's body grew increasingly violent, gushing forth like tidal waves through his newly opened stellar meridians. His entire person resembled an enraged dragon, roaring as his long hair fluttered in the wind, wanting to kill everything in its path. The youth in front of him was pale. An arrow was falling towards him from the sky. He condensed 2 ice spears in his hands, and thrust them towards the sky and in front of him. Die! Qin Wentian howled, his boundless strength directly destroying the ice spears. Ignoring the pain in his fists, his terrifying strength caused the body of his opponent to stagger backwards. At the same time, an astral arrow descended from the sky, directly piercing through his head, nailing him to the ground. Orphan had personally witnessed the death of his comrade, yet he was blocked by Fan Li's rapid arrow. Although the power of Fan Li's arrows wasn't very strong, his control over them was simply too terrifying. Not only that, he was able to change the direction of his arrows, making it impossible to defend against them. At this moment, a terrifying demonic qi gushed over. Qin Wentian turned his gaze towards the front, only to see a pack of demonic wolves madly sprinting over, transforming into a terrifying horde of demonic beasts. Run! Fan Le directly shot out 3 arrows, after which he leapt down the ancient tree, turning and fleeing. Qin Wentian also reacted, madly sprinting away. Kill them! Behind him, Orphan let out a roar of rage. This time around he had truly lost all face. Out of the 4 of them who came to pursue Qin Wentian, the other 3 had all died. What was even more detestable was that although he was stronger than his opponents, he didn't even have the chance to unleash his full strength. He was completely suppressed by Qin Wentian's continuous barrage of arrows. Qin Wentian froze as he heard the voice, glancing at Fan Le who was standing at the side. I saw a person behind the pack of demonic wolves. Maybe he's controlling the Wolf King. Or maybe one of them has condensed a beast-taming type astral soul. Fan Li's face was filled with depression as he stared at Qin Wentian. However, your astral soul is truly tyrannical. You're only at the 8th level of the body refinement realm, yet you have such tyrannical strength. Qin Wentian speechlessly stared at him. Let's think about how to escape first. The speed of the demonic wolves in this dark forest is obviously faster than us. Not only that, with the strength of demonic beasts, they can easily tear apart ancient trees. Escaping to the top of a tree is obviously not an option. We won't be able to escape. Fatty had a bitter expression on his face. Very quickly, the pack of demonic wolves dashed past them like phantoms, circling in front of them as they continued their advance. Obviously, these demonic wolves treated them as prey and were prepared to surround them. When the front and the left and right sides were completely surrounded by demonic wolves, the demonic wolves in front finally halted their advance. Turning around, they bared their fangs at Qin Wentian and Fan Le, their eyes filled with the terrifying baleful aura. Qin Wentian and Fan Le halted their advance at the same time. Both of their feet rubbed against the ground as they turned around, only to see Fan Le tossing away the bow in his hands. His astral soul flickered as an astral bow appeared in his hands. Ignite, young man. As the sound of Fan Le's voice faded, it was as though his entire body was set ablaze. A terrifying aura gushed forth from him in all four directions, and in an instant, the demonic wolves all retreated backwards, their eyes filled with fear. The aura emanating from Fan Le's body rose at an insane rate. Brother, cover me, let's kill the Wolf King. Fan Le's gaze was akin to that of a wild beast, as he stared at the largest demonic beast in front of him. Bzzz. A resplendent beam of astral light pierced through the horizon, akin to a meteor shooting towards the gigantic wolf. The gigantic wolf howled, and its terrifying claws glowed with a cold light. However, it had no way to obstruct the advance of the arrow. That resplendent astral arrow pierced straight towards its head. Arrow! The gigantic wolf retreated, but the arrow was as though it had eyes of its own. It spun rapidly, and there was no way to block it. An expression of fear appeared on the face of the gigantic wolf, as it raised its claws in front of its head to block the arrow. At this moment, the arrow abruptly changed direction, piercing straight into the thigh of the gigantic wolf. A piercing sound rang out as the gigantic wolf was nailed to the ground by a terrifying force. Qin Wentian and Fan Le both lunged towards the gigantic wolf, while a few other demonic wolves dashed over, blocking Qin Wentian and Fan Le's path. Scram! Qin Wentian's astral soul also appeared, as an astral hammer materialized in his hands. Leaping up, he danced in the air as the astral hammer directly smashed towards one of the demonic wolves. Momentarily, the body of the demonic wolf was directly smashed into the ground, as flesh and blood splattered in all directions. Qin Wentian's movements didn't slow down at all. The tempered hammer of 1,000 hammers danced in the air, and ferociously smashed towards the demonic wolves on his left and right, opening up a path for Fan Le. Fan Le's madly sprinted towards the gigantic wolf that was nailed to the ground, as 3 arrows in rapid succession whistled through the air. The gigantic wolf still wanted to block its head with its claws, but the arrows shot out in a straight line at such a close distance were so powerful that the claws of the demonic wolf were instantly shattered. After which, the last astral arrow pierced through the head of the gigantic wolf. Beautiful! A smile appeared on Qin Wentian's face. That gigantic wolf was a 4th-level demonic beast, and its strength surpassed a 2nd-level arterial circulation realm cultivator. Yet, it was still killed by Fan Le. At this moment, the silhouette of that fatty seemed to have grown several times taller. Oh! At this moment, the cold howl of a wolf reverberated through the forest. Behind the pack of wolves, a youth clad in beast skin appeared. His countenance was cold, and beneath his feet was a similarly gigantic demonic wolf. Beside him, Orphan was also there, and he stared at Qin Wentian and Fan Le with a cold smile on his face. It was as though the two of them were already dead. Who would have thought that amongst the new students of the Emperor Star Academy, there would be another one who possesses the power of a bloodline? Orphan stared at Fan Le, as though he was taken aback. Fan Le possessed the power of a bloodline. It's the power of a bloodline. Qin Wentian silently exclaimed in his heart. He had followed Uncle Black for many years, so he naturally knew about the power of bloodlines. When cultivators condensed their astral souls, they had to depend on their perception, talent, and willpower. However, the power of a person's bloodline was more dependent on heredity. For those with powerful bloodlines, they would pass down their bloodlines to their descendants, and some would be able to awaken it, while others wouldn't. Hence, there were some who could only awaken the power of their bloodlines after a few generations, and there were even some who could not. Not only that, the power bestowed upon Wuxia was different as well. Wuxia's bloodline seemed to be able to ignite his combat prowess, allowing him to grow stronger. How unlucky, I actually killed the wrong person. Fan Le cursed in a low voice. After which, he moved to the side of Qin Wentian as he stated, "My bloodline is the Empyrean Flame bloodline, and it has the ability to ignite one's combat prowess. I can infuse the power of the Empyrean Flame bloodline into your body, causing your blood to boil for a short period of time." Okay. Qin Wentian nodded his head. After which, the power of the Empyrean Flame bloodline gushed forth from Fan Li's palms, transforming into a crimson palm that directly imprinted itself onto Qin Wentian's back. The power of the Empyrean Flame bloodline gushed into Qin Wentian's body. Instantly, Qin Wentian felt his blood boiling, and his aura surged upwards as well. Rumble. However, at this very instant, Qin Wentian's body abruptly trembled as an aura that caused the hearts of those who saw it to tremble erupted forth from him. Fan Le seemed to have sensed something as he stared at Qin Wentian. After which, he only saw Qin Wentian's body trembling as his countenance turned red, as though blood was about to drip out. Not only that, a primordial energy of a primordial beast manifested from his body, wanting to devour Qin Wentian whole. "What's going on?" Fan Le asked. "I don't know. There's a surge of energy in my blood that's devouring the power of your bloodline. I'm unable to control it." Qin Wentian's body trembled even more violently. "Fuck your grandpa bloodline suppression? Is this even possible?" The fat on Fan Li's face trembled. Qin Wentian also had the power of a bloodline, and it might even be a bloodline of a higher grade compared to his Empyrean Flame bloodline. Fan Le was very clear that the power of a bloodline was usually hidden within one's body. It would only be activated under special circumstances. Qin Wentian clearly had the power of a bloodline hidden within his body, and he didn't even know that it was activated by his Empyrean Flame bloodline. Fan Le didn't know if Qin Wentian's bloodline would be completely activated this time around. If it was successful, Qin Wentian would be able to use the power of his bloodline freely in the future. But if it wasn't, the power of his bloodline would continue to remain hidden. Chapter 37. Orphan stared at Qin Wentian and Fan Le, who were surrounded by the demonic wolves. The killing intent in his eyes intensified. Wuxia, who had awakened his bloodline limit, was 1 in a million. But these two fellows in front of him both possessed the bloodline limit. "Mu Yi, do it," Orphan commanded as he glanced at the youth on the back of the demonic wolf king. "Fine, Orphan. Remember, I've helped you guys this time around." A cold smile appeared on Mu Ye's face, exuding a demonic aura. With a low howl, the demonic wolves all lunged towards Qin Wentian and Fan Le. These demonic wolves were all 2nd and 3rd level demonic beasts, while the demonic wolf king he was riding was a 4th level demonic beast. "How are you?" Fan Li's astral bow shot out a series of arrows, and the 2nd level demonic wolves all exploded into pieces. However, the 3rd level demonic wolves were much harder to deal with. The strength of a 3rd level demonic beast was equivalent to a human at the 3rd level of the body refinement realm. Not only that, the strength of a 3rd level demonic beast would normally surpass Wuxia's 7th level, reaching the 8th or 9th level. "I can't control it." Qin Wentian's countenance was extremely unsightly. He had no way to control the power of this bloodline limit. How envious. Fatty grinned. Bloodlines that he couldn't control were naturally extremely powerful. Given Qin Wentian's current cultivation level, he wouldn't be able to control them. "Since you can't control it, let's burn it to our heart's content." Fatty stabbed an arrow into the head of a demonic wolf that was lunging towards Qin Wentian. "Fine." A drop of wolf blood splattered onto Qin Wentian's face. His eyes flashed with a crazed light as he unleashed all his might. Within his body, the terrifying power of his bloodline limit roared and churned violently, as his body exuded a terrifying aura. "Kill!" Qin Wentian howled in rage. Momentarily, the eyes of the demonic wolves were filled with reverence. Qin Wentian's entire body was enveloped by a blood-colored halo. He was still using the dragon subduing fists, but when he punched out, It was as though a gigantic blood-colored dragon was roaring. The third-level demonic wolf in front of him instantly exploded into a rain of blood. Roar! In the blink of an eye, a demonic wolf lunged at them from behind. The agility of these demonic wolves was too high, and their numbers were too great. Even though Qin Wentian and Fan Li's combat prowess was sufficient to contend against a fourth-level demonic wolf, they would still be in a disadvantageous position against such a pack of demonic wolves. Scram! Fan Li dashed to the back of Qin Wentian, as he howled in rage at the demonic wolf. For the first time, he released his second astral soul. That astral soul was in the form of a demonic human face. The pupils of the human face were so piercing that they could cause the souls of those who saw it to tremble. The demonic wolf that was lunging towards Qin Wentian directly fell to the ground. At the same time, Fan Li used his arrow as a weapon and pierced through the head of the wolf once again. At this moment, Qin Wentian had already rushed forward. Wherever the dragon's subduing fist passed, blood and flesh splattered everywhere. However, there was still no end to the wolf pack. "Brother, kill the Wolf King!" Fan Li roared, blocking the path of retreat for Qin Wentian. Boom! Qin Wentian stomped ferociously on the ground, causing the earth to split apart. His body soared through the air as he blasted out a punch towards the incoming demonic wolf, shattering it into pieces. When his body landed on the ground, a huge momentum was generated as Qin Wentian's entire body transformed into the shape of a bow as he dashed forward like an arrow. "Owa!" The Wolf King howled in rage. All the demonic wolves abandoned Fan Li and rushed towards Qin Wentian. "Fatty, I'm going all out." Fan Li's countenance turned ruthless as he released both of his astral souls. The astral bow in his hands shone with a resplendent light as 9 arrows simultaneously pierced through the air. Puff, puff, puff sounds rang out unceasingly as the demonic wolves around Qin Wentian were killed one after another. At this moment, both Qin Wentian and Fan Li went berserk. Numerous arrows transformed into a rain of arrows, unceasingly reaping the lives of their enemies. Orphan and Mu Ye's eyes narrowed when they saw Qin Wentian madly rushing towards them. At this moment, Qin Wentian's blood vessels seemed to be burning, and he was in an extremely berserk state. His strength had risen to a terrifying level. "Orphan, you are at the second level of arterial circulation and have 2 astral souls." Mu Ye spoke to Orphan. Evidently, he wanted Orphan to obstruct Qin Wentian. Orphan's countenance turned cold as he released both of his astral souls. The long spear astral soul and the shield astral soul appeared. This time around, he wasn't going to be careless. If he had released his second astral soul during the first exchange of blows with Fan Li, his palms wouldn't have been injured by the arrows. Of the 2 astral souls, the first focused on offense, while the second focused on defense. At this moment, the berserk Qin Wentian was already rushing towards Orphan. Orphan howled in rage as his long spear vibrated in the air. The venomous dragon spear technique unleashed a terrifying might, akin to a black dragon roaring towards Qin Wentian. Orphan had broken through to the second level of arterial circulation, and had already opened up 2 of his arterial pathways. When he used innate techniques, the might of his attacks was extremely tyrannical. The berserk Qin Wentian blasted out with his dragon-subduing fists. The roar of the 9 heavens was akin to the roar of the 9 heavens, using brute force to break through techniques. Terrifying explosions rang out in the air, as Qin Wentian's momentum was like a hot knife cutting through butter. What a terrifying strength! Orphan's countenance sank. At this moment, the strength of Qin Wentian's attack had already surpassed the strength of 200 bulls, and was akin to the pressure of Mount Tai. Die! Orphan's spear technique was akin to a venomous dragon, piercing through the air, aiming straight for Qin Wentian's eyes. However, at this moment, Qin Wentian stretched out his left hand, and with an abrupt clench, he actually managed to grab hold of the long spear. In an instant, blood flowed from his palms, but his right fist carried an unparalleled might as it smashed towards Orphan. Madman! Orphan's countenance drastically changed. The astral energy in his body transformed into an illusory shield, blocking in front of him, as a resplendent glow circulated around it. Kaboom! The illusory shield shattered into pieces, and the terrifying force of the impact caused Orphan's body to be flung through the air. At this moment, the silhouettes of many students appeared in the distance. They were all curiously heading in this direction. The commotion caused by the battle earlier was too great, and the howls of the wolves had attracted the attention of many people. At the same time, the sound of galloping hooves could be heard, causing the ground to tremble unceasingly. However, the berserk Qin Wentian and Fan Le didn't have the time to care about such things. In their eyes there was only killing intent. A large portion of the wolves had already been wiped out by Fan Li's rapid-fire arrows. Fan Lu and Qin Wentian sprinted towards Orphan, while simultaneously shooting 3 tracking arrows at the Wolf King and Mu Yi. Go! Mu Yi rode on the back of the Wolf King, while Orphan, who was on the ground, also turned and fled. The two of them were truly madmen. Damn it, my astral energy is almost depleted. Fan Le cursed in a low voice. The bow in his hands disappeared, but he still followed Qin Wentian as they dashed forward, chasing after the lone Orphan. Orphan coughed a few times, as blood seeped out from the corners of his mouth. His countenance paled as he sprinted madly towards a slope in front of him, his eyes filled with a deep sense of fear. On the slope, several silhouettes abruptly appeared. These silhouettes were riding on draconic horses, and they were none other than the high-ranked students who were supervising the training exercise in the dark forest. Stay your hand! Orkan, who was riding on a draconic horse, roared in rage as he dashed forward, causing the pupils of Qin Wentian and Fan Le to narrow. Fan Le halted his steps, as he condensed the last of his astral energy into a bow, as well as 3 arrows, which pierced through the air, aiming straight for Orphan. Impudent! A cold light flickered in Orkan's eyes. The draconic horse he was riding on transformed into a hurricane, and the long spear in his hands slashed out, causing a resplendent beam of light to flash as the 3 arrows simultaneously exploded in the air. You're courting death. The long spear in Orkan's hands shot out explosively, aiming straight for Fan Le. Fan Li's countenance changed as he leapt backwards, stabbing the long spear into the ground, causing the earth to shatter. At the same time, the spear's tail swept out, directly striking Fan Li's head, sending him flying through the air. Fatty! Qin Wentian's countenance stiffened as he halted his steps. In front of him was Orkan, who was riding on a draconic horse. Orkan's eyes were filled with disdain as he coldly stated, "You guys are here to hunt demonic beasts, yet you guys actually dared to act against your own comrades." As the sound of his voice faded, Orkan punched out towards Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian lifted his hands to block, but the immense force of the punch wasn't something he could defend against. His body was flung across the ground, as his blood and qi churned wildly. His eyes were filled with rage as he glared at Orkan, radiating an intense killing intent. This time around, how could Orkan not know that Orphan wanted to kill them? Yet now he was still trying to twist the facts. You guys are too impudent. A clear and cold voice drifted over. Mo Qingqing rode on a flying crane as she stared at Qin Wentian and Fan Le with an icy gaze. Mo Qingqing naturally recognized Qin Wentian, but she didn't expect that Qin Wentian would actually try to kill a student. If that was the case, she wouldn't have bothered to save him back then. Miss Mo, since these two are so daring, should we kill them on the spot? Orkan asked Mo Qingqing. I don't wish to see them killing each other. Let them go, but don't let this happen again. Mo Qingqing coldly replied. Fine. Orkan nodded his head as he stared at Qin Wentian. Today I'll spare your lowly life. Scram. The surge of bloodline energy within Qin Wentian's body gradually subsided. His eyes were ice cold as he glanced at Orkan and Mo Qingqing, before a cold smile appeared on his face. Both of you are very good. The smile on Qin Wentian's face was filled with misery. He walked towards the injured Fan Le as he asked, Are you all right? Fatty's life is tough, he won't die. Fan Le grinned. Brother, it seems like beautiful women aren't necessarily goddesses. Let's go. Qin Wentian glared at Fatty, before carrying him on his back as they walked away, only to hear Qin Wentian cursing in a low voice. Fatty, you are so heavy. Mo Qingqing stared at the two lonely silhouettes, feeling that something was amiss. A moment later, A beam of white light flashed past as a snowy puppy leapt in front of her. "Why are you here?" Mo Qingqing smiled, only to see the snowy puppy glaring at her. After which, it ran towards Qin Wentian, without even turning its head back, causing Mo Qingqing's beautiful eyes to freeze. That adorable snowy puppy's eyes were filled with coldness earlier. Behind them, Luo Huan also arrived on the back of an icy eagle. She floated in the air as she stared at the two silhouettes leaving. "Mo Qingqing, you've gone too far." Mo Qingqing stared at Luo Huan, as a puzzled expression appeared on her face. His name is Qin Wentian, a member of the Qin residents in Sky Harmony City. He doesn't even know Orphan, so why would he want to kill him? On the contrary, there are some people who have always wanted my junior brother Qin dead. Luo Huan coldly glanced at Orphan. Upon hearing her words, Mo Qingqing's body trembled as she recalled the scene of the young man leaving, as well as the cold eyes of the snowy puppy. Her heart suddenly felt an indescribable pain. "He's Qin Wentian." Mo Qingqing stared at the back of Qin Wentian, her heart filled with unbearable pain. Chapter 38. Within the dark forest, Qin Wentian carried Fan Lu on his back as he sped through the forest. Although he was extremely weak right now, he had to leave this place as soon as possible to avoid being targeted again. Currently, he and Fan Lu didn't have the strength to continue fighting. How unlucky! Fan Lu sighed as he lay on Qin Wentian's back. "If I knew this would be so dangerous, I wouldn't have meddled in other people's business. I fatty am still a virgin." "Shut your mouth." Qin Wentian cursed in a low voice. This damn fatty really spoke too much nonsense. "Hee, how do you feel now that your bloodline limit has been suppressed?" Fan Lu continued asking. "And what's up with this little dog? Why is it following us? If you continue talking nonsense, I won't be able to hold on any longer." Qin Wentian was extremely fatigued. Earlier, both he and Fan Lu were in a berserk state, and their blood was boiling. But after activating their bloodline limit, they had exhausted too much energy, and were now in a weakened state. In addition to that, the astral energy in their bodies had also been depleted. This was especially so for Fan Lu, who had already exhausted all of his energy. He was still struck by Orkan's spear. That strike caused his brain to bleed unceasingly. Luckily, Qin Wentian was proficient in the art of acupuncture, and managed to stop the bleeding. At this moment, Fan Lu didn't even have an ounce of energy left in his body. Thinking of this, Fan Lu continued, "If there's a grudge, it should be settled overnight. But this genius is still young. I need to cultivate for another 1 or 2 years. It won't be too late to take revenge then." "Qin Wentian, why is your cultivation level so low? If you were at the arterial circulation realm, wouldn't it be a piece of cake to deal with that bastard Orphan?" Fan Lu continued jabbering. "There's a cave dwelling ahead." Qin Wentian directly ignored Fan Li's words as he advanced towards the cave dwelling. Given their current condition, if they were to encounter a demonic beast, only death awaited them. As they neared the cave dwelling, Qin Wentian placed Fan Li down as he sat on the ground, panting heavily. "Fatty, let's recover some of our energy first. If not, if we encounter a demonic beast, we will be in dire straits." Qin Wentian spoke. After which, he sat down cross-legged and began his meditation. Fan Li sat down as well. At this moment they were simply too weak. "I can't be that unlucky, right?" Fan Li, who had just closed his eyes, opened them only to see a demonic leopard nearing them, glaring at them. Qin Wentian's face stiffened. He stared at the demon leopard, and struggled to stand up. Buzz! The demonic leopard's movements were swift and ferocious. In the blink of an eye, it pounced forward like a bolt of lightning. But at the same time, the snowy dog by Qin Wentian's side also transformed into a white blur, its speed even faster than that of the demonic leopard. Roar! A low growl sounded out from the snowy dog's mouth. In the next moment, Qin Wentian was stunned to see that the snowy dog's body had suddenly expanded to the size of a level 3 demon wolf. With unerring accuracy, the snowy dog bit down on the demon leopard's throat. In an instant the demonic leopard's body fell. The artery on its neck had been bitten off, and it was on the verge of death. Transformation? That's possible too. Fan Lu and Qin Wentian were both dumbfounded. What made them even more speechless was that the snowy dog turned around and walked to the entrance of the cave dwelling, looking at Qin Wentian with a fawning expression on its face. That expression was so despicable, and as its body gradually shrank, the despicable expression on its face became even cuter. What an astonishing speed! Qin Wentian's heart trembled. This little fellow actually pretended to be a pig to eat the tiger. Let's call him Little Rascal. Fan Le grinned. How despicable. Qin Wentian cast a disdainful glance at Fan Le. However, this name isn't bad. As he spoke, Qin Wentian grinned. The pitiful snowy dog was named Little Rascal just like that. With Little Rascal guarding outside, Qin Wentian and Fan Le felt much more at ease in their cultivation. When night fell, the astral energy within their bodies was once again replenished. Fan Le opened his eyes, only to hear the rumbling of the astral energy within Qin Wentian's body. He couldn't help but be speechless. The commotion caused by his cultivation would never be so great. However, this fellow was truly ruthless. He had just recovered a little bit of his energy, and he had already begun to temper his body. Naturally, Fan Le was also very clear that after experiencing today's events, Qin Wentian would definitely want to raise his cultivation base as soon as possible. After all, they were still waiting for revenge. Orphan, I'm really filled with anticipation. Fan Le grinned. His wretched smile contained traces of coldness within. After which, he walked forward, dragging the carcass of the demonic leopard as he walked out of the cave, wanting to fill his stomach. When Qin Wentian opened his eyes, he saw that outside the cave, Fan Le was grabbing onto the roasted leopard meat and chewing on it in an indecent manner. His fat face was smeared with oil, and the fragrance of the meat permeated the air. You have just recovered a little bit of your energy, yet you're already acting so high profile. I'm afraid that the smell and the light from the fire would attract demonic beasts here very soon. Qin Wentian cursed in a low voice. However, Wuxia's recovery speed was truly tyrannical. During the day, they were exhausted due to their berserk actions, but now, they had already recovered a lot in just half a day's time. That's why we should hurry up and eat our fill before leaving. Fan Le gobbled down the meat in large mouthfuls. Qin Wentian walked forward and started eating as well, only to see Little Rascal squatting beside him, looking at him with a fawning expression. How much can you eat with that small body of yours? Qin Wentian fed a piece of leopard meat to Little Rascal. Little Rascal was extremely satisfied as he started eating. Ordinary demonic beasts also need to absorb the yuan qi of heaven and earth to grow. This leopard meat is extremely nutritious, Fan Le explained as he ate. Qin Wentian could also feel the energy contained within the leopard meat. If an ordinary person was tired, they would be able to quickly recover their energy after eating the meat of demonic beasts. For the next month, we'll have to enjoy ourselves. Fan Le stood up and continued. There are demonic beasts approaching, let's flee first. Right. Qin Wentian nodded his head as he brought Little Rascal away. After finding another place, Fan Le ate his fill and went to sleep, while Qin Wentian cultivated by himself with Little Rascal acting as a lookout. During the day, the three of them moved out together, hunting demonic beasts. Naturally, they couldn't avoid enjoying the delicious meat of demonic beasts. In the blink of an eye, it was already the 10th day since the students of the 7 martial academies entered the dark forest. Currently, the students had already entered the depths of the dark forest with extreme caution. At this moment, in a certain part of the forest, there was a group of people walking slowly. However, at this moment, a gust of wind swept past, causing their countenances to drastically change. An incomparably gigantic iron-armored rhinoceros was madly galloping towards them, tearing apart the ancient trees in its path. That's a peak-level 3rd-level demonic beast, the iron-armored rhinoceros. The group of people trembled, wanting to flee. However, the raging wind swept past them, and they only saw the iron-armored rhinoceros rushing past them. What was even more shocking was that behind the iron-armored rhinoceros, there were 2 silhouettes of youths madly sprinting forward. Fatty, do it. A voice drifted over. After which, they only saw a few astral arrows arcing through the air, as though they had eyes of their own as they chased after the iron-armored rhinoceros. 9 arrows shot out in succession, and the iron-armored rhinoceros's path seemed to have been completely sealed. The iron-armored rhinoceros was forced to a halt, after which, another youth dashed towards the iron-armored rhinoceros, punching out with his fist, causing the sound of a dragon's roar to echo out. Boom! The youth's fist landed on the head of the iron-armored rhinoceros, causing the surrounding trees to tremble, after which, they saw the body of the iron-armored rhinoceros twitching violently, before its gigantic body slumped to the ground with a thud. What a powerful strength! This iron-armored rhinoceros is famed for its defense, yet it was actually killed by a single punch. The hearts of the group of people trembled, after which, they saw a snowy puppy leaping onto the back of the iron-armored rhinoceros, revealing a despicable expression on its face. The 2 youths were none other than Qin Wentian and Fan Le. Fan Le walked out, facing Qin Wentian. You freak! After breaking through to the 9th level of the body refinement realm, your strength has grown even more violent. After 10 days of cultivation, Qin Wentian had successfully stepped into the 9th level of the body refinement realm, which was also the last level. At this moment his robes were tattered and tattered. Turning his head he smiled at Fan Le. Fatty, are you jealous? Qin Wentian had used the violent astral energy from the Heavenly Hammer constellation to temper his body. In addition to the amplification from his 5th heavenly layer astral soul, how could his strength not be terrifying? I'm jealous of you. Do you think you can control the power of your bloodline as you please? Fan Le placed his hands on his hips, smiling evilly as he stared at Qin Wentian. Momentarily, Qin Wentian's countenance sank. Although his body contained the power of a high-grade bloodline, he had no way to control it as he pleased. The power of his bloodline limit was hidden within his body, and he had no way to sense it. Also, other than this subduing snake fist, don't you know any other techniques? Fan Le continued. After I break through to the arterial circulation realm, I'll start cultivating innate techniques. To me, breaking through to the next level is more important. Qin Wentian replied. After he condensed his 2nd astral soul, he would then choose an innate technique that was more suitable for him. Hurry up and increase your cultivation. That day Orkan made us lose face. Not only that, without the aid of the power of his bloodline limit, I'm afraid that even Orphan would find it hard to deal with him. Fan Le narrowed his eyes as he walked forwards. Qin Wentian nodded his head. The reason why he was able to defeat Orphan that day was because he had borrowed the power of his bloodline limit. Now that he was at the 9th level of the body refinement realm, it would be extremely difficult for him to defeat Orphan, who was at the 2nd level of the arterial circulation realm. In another area of the dark forest, a flock of flying beasts were hovering in the air. Below them, Orphan and Mu Yi were gathered together. Other than them, there were 2 other silhouettes. Orphan, the Qin clan has been banished to the Sky Harmony City for so many years, and has long since declined. You actually want me to personally deal with the descendant at the body refinement realm? A person stared at Orphan, his eyes filled with disdain. This person was a 2nd-year student of the Emperor Star Academy, Hua Yun. He had already opened 4 arterial pathways, and was also a descendant of a noble clan. Within the dark forest, the members of the 9 great academies were participating in the tempering exercise. However, it was impossible for them to prevent others from entering. Hua Yin was coincidentally training in the dark forest when he bumped into Orphan. As for the other youth, he was a student from the Royal Academy, Yi Zhan of the Yi clan. His cultivation base was at the 2nd level of the arterial circulation realm. That fellow still has a companion who possesses the power of a bloodline limit. It's going to be a little troublesome to deal with. Orphan's eyes narrowed. He didn't reveal the fact that Qin Wentian also possessed the power of a bloodline limit. He definitely wanted Qin Wentian to die in the dark forest, so as to wash away the humiliation of being hunted down by others. Mu Yi, make your move, Orphan commanded. Mu Yi gazed at the skies, only to see the flying beasts abruptly flying away in all directions, disappearing without a trace. Chapter 39. Fan Li's cultivation base was at the first level of the arterial circulation realm, while Qin Wentian was at the 9th level of the body refinement realm. As long as they didn't venture too deep into the dark forest, they wouldn't encounter any danger easily. Hence Qin Wentian and Fan Li passed their days leisurely. Qin Wentian, you've already started to break through to the arterial circulation realm. What kind of astral soul do you want for your second astral soul? Fan Li asked Qin Wentian as they walked through the forest. Fan Li was filled with anticipation for Qin Wentian to condense his second astral soul. Since his first astral soul was already condensed from an astral soul from the 3rd heavenly layer, there was no doubt that his second astral soul would be condensed from the 3rd heavenly layer. The tyrannical heavenly hammer astral soul had bestowed upon Qin Wentian. I haven't decided yet. Above the 9 astral rivers, there are countless constellations. This time around I have to choose wisely. Qin Wentian smiled. He was also filled with anticipation for his second astral soul. You pervert. Fan Li cursed in a low voice. Many people's consciousness can't even remain in the 1st heavenly layer for too long. They can only condense an astral soul from the 3rd heavenly layer. However, although you are a pervert, there's still a gap between you and me. Fan Li replied with a straight face. Qin Wentian was already used to Fan Li's shameless boasting. His lips curled up in a disdainful smile, as though he was intentionally angering Fan Li. There's someone fighting. The two of them suddenly spoke at the same time, after which they sprinted forward with swift steps, as though they were flying. Little Rascal, who was hiding in the grass, followed closely behind them. Not far away from Qin Wentian, Lu Yan was filled with despair. She had never thought that she would encounter a 4th-level demonic beast, the green-scaled python. In front of her, the python coiled around her friend, Zhuo Fan, and swallowed him whole. The cruelty of the scene caused her legs to go soft. Lu Yan, run. Not far away, Lu Yu roared in rage when he saw Lu Yan standing there in a daze. However, Lu Yan was only 16 years old after all. Such a scene caused her heart to crumble. Her body trembled in fear as she stared at the python, staring at her in a daze. The python stopped in front of Lu Yan, looking down at her. At this moment, Lu Yan's mind was in a complete mess, to the point that she didn't even hear the whistling sound of the wind. Evil creature. Qin Wentian was like an arrow released from a bow as he pounced towards the head of the python. The 3rd style of the dragon subduing fists, 9 heavens dragon roar, was blasted out, and a strong gust of wind was generated. The python turned its cold eyes towards Qin Wentian and opened its bloody mouth wide, biting towards Qin Wentian. Bang! Like a landslide, a tyrannical force shook the python's head, causing its huge head to bounce back, while its huge tail swept across the void. Go! Qin Wentian shouted to Lu Yan, who was below him. He grabbed the python's tail, and his entire body was flung out of the way. At the same time, the whistling sound of an arrow whistling through the air was heard, aiming straight for the eyes of the python. Only now did Lu Yan react. She turned and fled, while Qin Wentian's body was slammed into a huge tree. His entire body was in pain, but luckily, his physique was extremely strong, and he didn't suffer any serious injuries. A terrifying roar pierced the eardrums of those who heard it. The python had suffered an attack from Qin Wentian, and had its eyes pierced by Qin Wentian's tracking arrow. It actually turned and fled, and didn't enter a state of rage. Evidently it could still think. How painful. Qin Wentian didn't chase after it. He glanced at Fan Li. Fatty, not bad. Hee hee. Fatty grinned as he walked over. His second astral soul, the ghost mask astral soul, bestowed upon him the power of will. He was able to slightly change the direction of his arrows, and could easily see through the cultivation base of others. Although this type of astral soul couldn't directly bestow a powerful attack or defense, it was classified as a control-type astral soul, and had an extremely high potential for growth. After all, currently, Fatty could only use this power on his arrows. Not only that, he could only change the direction of his arrows at the most crucial moment. But in the future, when his will grew stronger, he would be able to directly control swords and objects. Are you alright? Qin Wentian walked towards Lu Yan, as he stretched out his hands towards her. After the python had escaped, Lu Yen was completely drained of all her strength. She sat weakly on the ground, but when she saw the smile on the young man's face, a smile also appeared on her face. Stretching out her hands, she grasped Qin Wentian's palm and stood up. Thank you. Lu Yen had been in despair earlier, but Qin Wentian had pulled her back from the brink of death. Don't worry about it, just be careful in the future. Qin Wentian smiled. Lu Yen smiled and nodded her head, but when she thought of Zhuo Fan's death, an expression of sorrow appeared on her face. Above the forest, a black raven, attracted by the battle earlier, let out a caw, adding a sense of desolation to the atmosphere. Black raven? Fan Lu abruptly raised his head, and his eyes narrowed as he stared at the black raven circling in the air. After which he murmured, "What a lingering spirit." Qin Wentian's brows twitched as he raised his head. He immediately understood what had happened. He had not forgotten the lesson he had learned from the demonic wolves. Orphan's friend was able to tame demonic beasts. Lu Yen, don't tell anyone that we're acquainted. Qin Wentian spoke to Lu Yen. After which, he exchanged a glance with Fan Lu, and the two of them turned and sprinted towards the depths of the dark forest. This scene caused Lu Yen to be stunned. She wanted to chase after them, but at the same time, a raging wind kicked up, causing the leaves on the trees to rustle. From afar, a few flying beasts swooped over, and very quickly they flew past her head. There were actually human silhouettes on top of the flying beasts. Upon seeing this scene, Lu Yu instantly pulled Lu Yen back. Don't chase after them. They've met with a powerful opponent. Brother. Lu Yen looked at Lu Yu, only to hear him continuing. This Qin Wentian was willing to endure the attack of the green-scaled python to save you. It seems like he likes you a little. However, these people riding on flying beasts are obviously more powerful. Remember what Qin Wentian said earlier, we don't know him. As the sound of his voice faded, the silhouette of a young man, riding on a third-level black hawk returned. This person was none other than Yi Zhan. Yi Zhan had a smile on his face as he dismounted, and walked towards Lu Yen and Lu Yu. I'm Yi Zhan, a student from the Royal Academy. How about you too? My name is Lu Yu, and this is my younger sister Lu Yen. Lu Yu carefully replied. Yi Zhan's smile was gentle, but he didn't dare to be careless. That person earlier is named Qin Wentian, a student from the Emperor Star Academy. However, I'm afraid that he won't be able to walk out of the dark forest alive. How long have you known him? Yi Zhan casually asked. Not too long ago. Seeing the smile on Yi Zhan's face, Lu Yu didn't dare to lie. Don't be so nervous, we're only targeting him. We have no ill intentions towards you. Yi Zhan smiled. Only then did Lu Yu heave a sigh of relief, while Lu Yen started to worry about Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian and Fan Lu were madly sprinting, but the speed of the flying beasts was too fast. The distance between them was gradually shortened. Little rascal, transform! Qin Wentian roared. Momentarily, a white silhouette expanded in size, instantly appearing in front of Qin Wentian and Fan Lu. The two of them directly leapt onto the silhouette, squeezing together. Sit tight. How are their cultivation bases? Qin Wentian asked Fan Lu. 3 of them. Orphan and the beast tamer are still manageable, but the last one is extremely difficult to deal with. I can't see through his cultivation base with my spiritual sense. I'm afraid that he's at least at the 3rd level of arterial circulation. Fan Li's back was facing Qin Wentian. His legs clamped onto little rascal's body as a bow appeared in his hands. In an instant, 3 arrows pierced through the air. However, the speed at which the Black Hawk dodged was too fast, causing the arrows to deviate from their original trajectories. In addition to the terrifying speed of the black silhouette, Fan Li's spiritual sense couldn't control the arrows to catch up to it. How troublesome, Fan Li stated in a depressed tone. Luckily this little rascal's speed is fast enough. If it wasn't for the 2 of us, he wouldn't even need to transform, and would be able to easily shake off the pursuit of the Black Hawk. But this isn't a solution. Let's prepare for battle and kill the beast tamer. If we do that, they won't be able to control the Black Hawk anymore. Qin Wentian suggested. Right, let's wait for an opportunity. The two of them started to discuss. Fan Le didn't waste his astral energy as he continued shooting arrows. They continued to advance deeper into the dark forest. Huayan was somewhat depressed. He didn't expect that it would be so tiring to chase after the two of them. Not only that, the white dog was running all over the place. Right now, he didn't even know where they were. There was a possibility that powerful demonic beasts would appear at any moment. In front of them, the forest was no longer there. Instead, it was a vast open space. Ahead of them, there seemed to be a misty mountain valley. It's the fantasy city. Huayan's eyes narrowed as he stared at the misty mountain valley. They had actually arrived at the boundary of the fantasy city, within the dark forest. Qin Wentian and the rest also halted. Ahead of them, within the misty mountain valley, a city could be seen flickering in and out of existence, appearing illusory and illusory. They seemed to be extremely fearful of this place. Fatty narrowed his eyes as he stared at the three pursuers. This time around, Qin Wentian wouldn't be able to escape even if he grew wings. The two of them dismounted from Little Rascal's back. Little Rascal's body shrank back to its original size. Qin Wentian and Fan Le exchanged a glance. Their minds were connected, and after which, Fan Le instantly drew his bow. 9 astral arrows pierced through the air, whistling through the air as they shot towards Mu Yi. Little Rascal! Qin Wentian roared. Little Rascal directly leapt into Qin Wentian's hands, and after which, Qin Wentian abruptly flung Little Rascal towards Mu Yi. Mu Yi's countenance stiffened when he saw the 9 arrows shooting towards him. The space in front of him had been sealed. Gathering his strength, Mu Yi abruptly slammed his palms against the incoming arrows, using brute force to break them apart. At the same instant, a snowy puppy appeared in front of him. Its body abruptly expanded in size as it swiped its sharp claws at Mu Yi's head. Mu Yi's countenance drastically changed as he controlled the black hawk to fly upwards. However, Little Rascal's sharp claws directly slammed into the black hawk's head, causing it to plummet downwards. Mu Yi also lost his balance as he plummeted downwards. Everything happened in the blink of an eye. It was too fast. Earlier, the 9 arrows were merely used to control Mu Yi, causing him to fall into a dire situation. At the boundary of the mist, Fatty's arrow was aimed straight at him as he grinned. Chapter 40. Mu Yi's heart sank to the bottom of the valley when he saw the shameless smile on Fatty's face. Being at the arterial circulation realm, he had no way to dodge in the air. He could only watch helplessly as the arrows pierced through the air. Poochie! Mu Yi did his best to block 2 of the arrows, but one of them still pierced through the center of his brows. This time around, the price he had to pay was death. At the same instant that Mu Yi was struck, Huayan leapt down from the back of the Black Eagle and dashed towards Fan Le. Qin Wentian stepped out, dashing towards Huayan. His dragon-subduing fists blasted out, clashing head-on with Huayan. Die! Huayan's eyes flashed with an intense killing intent. The fearsome starfall fist swept out tyrannically, and Qin Wentian only felt a terrifying shockwave blasting towards him. Borrowing the force of the impact, he was sent flying backwards, slamming into Fan Le who was behind him. Fan Le retreated a few steps, and only stabilized himself after he had retreated into the mist. We can't win, what should we do? Fan Le sighed as he steadied Qin Wentian's body. If we can't win, we can only run. Qin Wentian's arm was still in intense pain. If it weren't for his quick reflexes, his entire arm would have been crippled. Little Rascal seemed to understand Qin Wentian's intentions, and immediately rushed over. The two of them leapt onto Little Rascal's back, and Little Rascal directly brought them into the mist. This scene caused Huayan to be stunned. Didn't they know that the illusionary city was a forbidden zone? Idiots who don't know the immensity of death. Their first choice was to kill Mu Yi, because they wanted to prevent him from pursuing them. Orphan walked up, silently sighing in his heart. The coordination between the two of them was too good, and there was even a demonic beast that could transform. If it wasn't for the fact that they were afraid of Mu Yi's demonic beasts chasing after them, they would have chosen to kill him first. Sadly, they were dead meat. The dark forest was extremely vast, and there were some places that they couldn't enter. The illusionary city was a forbidden zone, and once they entered, they wouldn't be able to come out. Everything is done. However, you have to account for Muye's death. Huayan turned and left, causing Orphan's expression to stiffen. Amidst the dense fog, Little Rascal carried Qin Wentian and Fan Lu as they sprinted madly. No one is chasing us? Fan Lu asked. MHM, Qin Wentian replied. Something doesn't seem right. Could it be that it's very dangerous? Fan Li's body trembled involuntarily. It seemed like they didn't dare to enter? Little demon. Am I going to die here? Fatty sounded like he was about to cry. In the fog, they couldn't see the road clearly. They were actually lost. After another hour, they finally walked out of the fog. However, the moment they came out, they were shocked by what they saw. In front of them was a castle. Fog Illusion City. It wasn't an illusion city, it was a real castle. Not only that, but they also saw many armored soldiers in the castle. They were all clad in black armor, and exuded a murderous aura. When they saw the two of them, a group of black armored soldiers walked over and pointed their spears at them. The murderous aura caused the Fatty to almost fall. Fatty, I can't be this unlucky, right? This time around, Fatty really cried. These people were all at the arterial circulation realm. Everyone's cultivation base was higher than his. There was no way he could escape. Qin Wentian didn't expect that there was such a castle hidden in the dark forest, and that it had trained a group of terrifying soldiers. The killing intent grew increasingly intense. Qin Wentian and Fatty released their astral souls as they made preparations to flee. Qin Wentian. At this moment from afar, a silhouette clad in armor walked over and called out Qin Wentian's name. His voice was slightly hoarse, and his head was covered by a helmet, revealing only his eyes. Huh. Qin Wentian's eyes narrowed. In this place, there was actually someone who recognized him. All of you retreat. The silhouette indifferently spoke. In an instant, the group of black-armored soldiers all left, causing Fan Lu to heave a sigh of relief. It seemed like Fatty's luck was really good. You are? Qin Wentian curiously stared at the mysterious figure. This Fog Illusion City is a forbidden place. Those who enter it can forget about leaving. Naturally, you are an exception. Follow me. The voice of the mysterious figure was still hoarse. After speaking, he turned and walked towards the castle. Qin Wentian and Fan Lu followed behind, their hearts filled with bewilderment. The mysterious man brought them to a comfortable residence. There were even maids here, and they were all quite beautiful. Take good care of them. The mysterious figure instructed the maid, after which, he turned to Qin Wentian and said, If you wish to leave, just inform the maid. I will arrange for you to leave, but remember, do not reveal this place to anyone else. If not, I can guarantee that you won't live past 3 days. Of course. Fatty grinned. The mysterious figure glanced at Qin Wentian and said, Your cultivation base has already reached the 9th level of the body refinement realm. You can attempt to break through to the arterial circulation realm. After speaking, the mysterious figure departed, leaving behind a puzzled Qin Wentian. Who is he? After the mysterious figure and the maid left, Fan Lu asked Qin Wentian. How would I know? Qin Wentian shrugged his shoulders. Even if he racked his brains, he wouldn't be able to figure it out. Should I sneak away? Fan Lu murmured in a low voice. However, as the sound of his voice faded, he instantly regretted it. Because outside several beauties walked in with food in their hands. Instantly Fan Li's eyes widened. How could he still remember to sneak away? The beauties placed the food on the table and retreated to the side. Fan Lu laughed. Beautiful sisters, let's eat together. The maids shook their heads, indicating that they didn't dare to. Fan Lu felt that it was a pity. Glancing at the food, his eyes widened. Leopard guts, bear's heart, scarlet serpent fruit. Isn't this food a little too good? Fan Lu was stunned. However, this castle was located in the middle of the dark forest. In addition to the strength of these people, they indeed had a natural advantage. What made Fan Lu even more astonished was that after a short while, there were people who delivered a few yuan meteor stones to Qin Wentian, saying that they were for Qin Wentian to break through to the next level. Fan Lu even suspected that Qin Wentian was the young master of this castle. As the saying goes, good brothers are loyal to each other. Fan Le very generously split the Yuan meteor stones evenly between Qin Wentian, worried that Qin Wentian wouldn't be able to use them. Qin Wentian knew that the other party didn't have any ill intentions towards him after seeing the Yuan meteor stones given to him. If not, there was no need for him to do such a thing. After which Qin Wentian began to quietly cultivate. It was indeed necessary for him to break through to the next level. As for Fan Le, he enjoyed the free food and chatted with the beautiful ladies. His days were spent in bliss. The food here was definitely the best of the royal clan. Even the descendants of the royal clan of Chu wouldn't be able to enjoy such luxuries. Other than the fact that they were treated well, no one had ever come to disturb them before. The night sky was as dark as ink. Qin Wentian sat cross-legged on the ground. The dense fog in the sky had no way to obstruct the astral light that cascaded downwards. At this moment, rumbling sounds could be heard coming from within Qin Wentian's body, as though his entire body was shimmering with a unique light. His body is sparkling and translucent, and the astral light is nourishing his body. This is the pinnacle of the body refinement realm. Fan Le lazily laid down at the side, observing Qin Wentian's cultivation. This fellow was truly hard-working, immersing himself in his cultivation for the past few days. Puff! A light sound drifted out, causing Fan Le's eyes to narrow. Staring at Qin Wentian, a smile appeared on his face. He's starting to activate his acupoints. Is he trying to break through to the arterial circulation realm? This fellow's cultivation speed is too terrifying. It seems like it's only been a few days since he broke through. Fan Le murmured in his heart. Although there were external factors such as food and Yuan meteor stones, Qin Wentian's cultivation art and astral souls were both extremely tyrannical and extremely suitable for body refinement. The purpose of the body refinement realm was to forge a perfect physique. For those with weak cultivation arts, or the astral energy bestowed by their constellations would be weak, resulting in a poor result in their body refinement. On the other hand, the better the cultivation art, the more tyrannical the astral energy within the body would be, and the faster one's body refinement would be, allowing them to forge a perfect physique within a short period of time. Qin Wentian clearly belonged to the latter category. Tyrannical cultivation arts, tyrannical astral souls. The tyrannical astral energy from the heavenly hammer constellation unceasingly descended upon Qin Wentian's body. Within his body, the boundless astral energy circulated and congregated at the various acupoints, frenziedly breaking through. There were many meridians and acupoints in the human body. To break through to the arterial circulation realm, one needed to activate all the acupoints in the body, allowing the body to store even more Yuan energy. After which, one needed to connect all the meridians and acupoints in the body, forming a complete arterial pathway that could connect to every part of the human body, allowing the Yuan energy in the body to circulate unimpeded. Through this complete arterial pathway, the Yuan energy stored in the four limbs and bones of the human body, as well as the acupoints, would be able to connect to the hands, legs, eyes, ears, and other parts of the body. Not only would one's attacks be more powerful, their vision, hearing, and other abilities would also be enhanced. Regardless of whether it was an ordinary Wuxia or a stellar martial cultivator, they would all be able to break through to the arterial circulation realm. As the acupoints were activated one by one, an expression of agony could be seen on Qin Wentian's face. Activating the acupoints was an extremely painful process, but Qin Wentian still gritted his teeth and persevered, causing crisp sounds to resound throughout the silent space. Fan Le, who was standing at the side, was speechless. This fellow was really going all out. But even so, the corners of his mouth curled up in a smile. Orkhan's disdainful gaze, as well as Orphan's frenzied pursuit, were all deeply engraved in Fan Le's mind. Indeed, Qin Wentian had to work hard in his cultivation, so that he could break through as soon as possible and condense his second astral soul. And now, the 1-month time limit for the examination had finally arrived. Early in the morning, the students who had entered the dark forest for the examination walked out one after another. The teachers of the 9 academies were all waiting outside. Those who walked out from the dark forest would become members of their respective academies in the future. Janice and Mustang stood together, while Orkhan, Mo Qingcheng, and Luo Huan stood beside them. Orphan has come out. Janice smiled when he saw Orphan's silhouette. In the future, Orphan would also join his sect. Luo Huan's beautiful eyes flickered with unhappiness. This Orphan had once acted against Qin Wentian in the dark forest. Although she and Mo Qingcheng had kept a close watch on Orkhan, it was hard to guarantee that Orphan wouldn't seek help from others. After all, the students who participated in the examination came from all over the dark forest, and they didn't know each other very well. The only exception was those from the royal capital. Mo Qingcheng glanced at Orphan with a cold gaze, causing Orphan's countenance to stiffen. He lowered his head, not daring to look into Mo Qingcheng's eyes. In front of this woman, he couldn't even lift his head, even if he wanted to look at her for a moment longer. Mo Qingcheng had been paying attention to the students who exited the dark forest. With regards to the incident that day, she had always felt guilty in her heart. When she saw Qin Wentian chasing after Orphan, she had directly berated Qin Wentian and didn't ask about the details of what had happened. However, even after the sun had set, as the red glow of the setting sun shone upon the dark forest, Qin Wentian still hadn't appeared. Over 300 students from the Emperor Star Academy had already exited the dark forest. Compared to the other academies, the passing rate of the Emperor Star Academy was the highest, but the number of students was still the lowest. However, there were over 100 cities in the Chu country, and in addition to the young geniuses from the other countries, the total number of students from the Chu country seemed insignificant. Orphan, what did you guys do to Qin Wentian? Mo Qingcheng's gaze abruptly landed on Orphan, as she coldly asked. I don't know. The dark forest is so vast. Maybe he met some demonic beasts and died. Orphan replied in a flustered tone. A tyrannical aura gushed forth from Mo Qingcheng, causing Orphan to hide behind Orkhan. Mo Qingcheng coldly stated, if something happened to him, and it was done by you, just you wait. After speaking, Mo Qingcheng mounted her flying crane and flew away. Luo Huan stared at the departing silhouette of Mo Qingcheng, silently musing that since this woman already knew her mistake, she couldn't blame her anymore. Her gaze similarly coldly swept towards Orkhan and Orphan. Regarding this matter, I will investigate it thoroughly. Mustang regretted agreeing to his master's suggestion. After all, Qin Wentian's cultivation base was still weak, and he was plotted against by others. If something really happened to him, Mustang wouldn't be able to rest easy. Chapter 41. In the blink of an eye, 7 days had passed since the examination for the 9 martial academies. The addition of new students increased the vitality of the various academies. Naturally, the Emperor Star Academy was no exception. However, there were some people who couldn't bring themselves to be happy. Luo Huan waited outside the dark forest for 3 days, but didn't see Qin Wentian. Hence, she returned to the Emperor Star Academy. At this moment, she was sitting in a spectator's stand, watching the ranking competition between the new students of the Emperor Star Academy. Every year, the Emperor Star Academy would undergo a ranking competition that lasted for 7 days to determine the strength of the new students. This not only concerned the glory of the students, it also concerned the resources they would be able to enjoy. This was the best method to motivate the students, encouraging them to work harder and become stronger. Only with competition would there be motivation. Today was the first day, and coincidentally, the one standing on the platform was Orphan. Among this batch of new students, Orphan's strength could be considered one of the more powerful ones. After defeating his opponent, he was in high spirits. Upon seeing this scene, Luo Huan's smiling eyes flashed with a hint of coldness. She really liked that sunny big boy. Did he really die in the dark forest? Today, he should also be standing on this stage. Although he wasn't the most dazzling group of people, in the end, he would still shine brightly. At the edge of the dark forest, 2 youths walked out. Behind them, there was an adorable snowy puppy. The air here is so fresh. Qin Wentian gazed at the city in front of him, as a smile appeared on his face. At this moment, His demeanor seemed to have changed, and his eyes were even brighter than before. Currently, he had already stimulated all of the astral energy in his body, and at the same time, he had completely opened up his stellar meridians, connecting them to his internal organs and acupoints, allowing him to reach all the major parts of his body. In the body refinement realm, one would be able to refine a perfect physique. After stepping into the arterial circulation realm, one would be able to stimulate all of the astral energy in one's body, allowing one's vision and hearing to become sharper, and one's movements to become more agile. Beauties of the royal capital, here I come. Fatty closed his eyes as he drew in a deep breath. Pooh! Qin Wentian directly kicked out, causing Fatty to almost fall to the ground. Qin Wentian, you've gone too far. Fatty placed his hands on his hips and glared at Qin Wentian. Immediately after, he saw Qin Wentian turn around and look at him. Instantly Fatty's aura deflated, thinking back to the time when Qin Wentian broke through, and he was beaten into a pig's head. He could only curse in a low voice. You're bullying Fatty too much. As he spoke, the Fatty walked forward. Qin Wentian's lips curled into a faint smile as he followed. He couldn't be blamed for not being able to stand this Fatty. This Fatty was simply too wretched. The night before they left the fantasy city, this Fatty had actually called his servant sister to his room to talk about life. That wasn't all. The crucial point was that when Qin Wentian returned from his cultivation session, the maidservant looked at him with a pitiful expression. Young Master Wentian, you were looking for me? That was in the middle of the night. At that time, Qin Wentian had already violently beaten up Fatty. You can be wretched, but don't you dare use my name to tease beauties. However, thinking back to his experience in the fantasy city, even now, Qin Wentian was puzzled. Who exactly was the person who knew him? Not only did he not kill him, but he even treated him so well. Arriving at the entrance of the city, Qin Wentian was preparing to enter. However, he discovered a familiar silhouette outside the city gates. It was none other than Francis. Master. Francis, who was seated on a large rock, saw Qin Wentian. His eyes instantly lit up as he jogged over. Seeing that Francis was covered in dust, Qin Wentian's heart warmed. He didn't expect that Francis would be waiting for him here. Why are you waiting here? Qin Wentian asked. Hee. I arrived here 7 days ago, but in the end, I didn't see you among the returning students. Hence, I asked your senior sister, and she also waited for me for 3 days before leaving. I'm fine, so I decided to wait here. In any case, you will definitely pass by this place when you come out. Francis laughed. Oh yes, Master, I've already found a safe place. Francis laughed again, as though he had just thought of something joyous. Let's talk while we walk. Qin Wentian replied. Okay. Francis nodded his head, as he continued to introduce to Qin Wentian. Among the major powers in the royal capital, there's a superpower named the Divine Weapon Pavilion. This Divine Weapon Pavilion is extremely powerful, and they mainly sell divine weapons. However, they also sell other types of treasures, and it's said that as long as you want to buy something, the Divine Weapon Pavilion would be able to acquire it. Especially when it comes to the variety of divine weapons, the Divine Weapon Pavilion has many weaponsmiths under their command. However, they are different from the Star River Association. They don't accept missions and only sell treasures. Currently, I'm a guest in the Divine Weapon Pavilion. That's right. What price do they pay for you to forge weapons for them? Qin Wentian inquired. Different levels of guest can enjoy different treatments. For example, they can enter the martial pavilion to cultivate different cultivation arts and innate techniques. Every month, they will receive a fixed amount of yuan stones and yuan meteor stones. For high-level guests, their treatment in the Divine Weapon Pavilion is extremely good, even surpassing that of the Star River Association. Francis continued. An expression of contemplation appeared on Qin Wentian's face. Francis becoming a guest of the Divine Weapon Pavilion was indeed a good choice. He could focus on forging weapons, and at the same time, he could reap some benefits. Not only that, if he wanted to do anything in the future, it would be much more convenient. For example, through Francis, he could obtain Yuan meteor stones for his cultivation. Francis, if you have a second-level divine imprint, would you be able to forge a second-level divine weapon? The comprehension of divine imprints is exceedingly difficult. It's impossible to succeed in a single attempt. Even if I managed to comprehend it, I would have to go through many attempts before I could inscribe it properly. But if I could truly comprehend second-level divine imprints, forging a second-level divine weapon wouldn't be a problem. Right, let's go to the Divine Weapon Pavilion. This time around, I'll be the one inscribing the divine imprint, and we'll work together to forge a divine weapon. After we're done, see if you can get me a few Yuan meteor stones. An expression of contemplation appeared on Qin Wentian's face. Although he had broken through to the arterial circulation realm, he had yet to open an astral gate. Opening an astral gate required the support of an immense amount of astral energy, and since he hadn't succeeded a few days ago, he might still need the help of Yuan meteor stones. Not only that, the tiny astral being in his sea of consciousness also required an immense amount of astral energy to be activated. If he were to rely on the astral energy within his body to replenish his energy, it would be too slow. If I'm able to forge a second-level divine weapon, Yuan meteor stones shouldn't be a problem. Francis had a joyful expression on his face. The population of the royal capital was extremely high, and many of the Wuxios were extremely thirsty for a divine weapon. This was especially so for those adventurers. With a divine weapon in their hands, they would be able to save their lives in crucial moments. Why didn't I see anyone using a divine weapon in the dark forest? Qin Wentian asked Fan Le. Fan Le had been listening at the side, silently cursing this freak in his heart. To think that this freak even knew divine imprints. Divine imprints were extremely profound and required a lot of time. Most people wouldn't be willing to waste too much time on it. How can a student bring a divine weapon with them during the examination? Do you think the teachers of the academy are all fools? Fatty cast a disdainful glance at Qin Wentian. That's true. Qin Wentian shrugged his shoulders as he laughed. Currently, as he walked along the streets, he saw many people carrying weapons. The Divine Weapon Pavilion was located in the 4th district of the royal capital. There were many powerful clans here, and even the Star River Association was located in this district. The roads here were extremely wide, and the buildings here were majestic and majestic. That should be the Divine Weapon Pavilion. Francis pointed to a gigantic building complex in front of them. It exuded an imposing aura, and there were many people entering and exiting it. This was one of the most popular places for the rich and powerful in the royal capital. Master, do you want to go in and take a look? Francis asked. There's no need for that. Just take me to the place where you forge weapons and start forging them. Qin Wentian replied. He still wanted to open his astral gate as soon as possible and condense his second astral soul. After that, he would go to the Emperor Star Academy and thank those people for their special care. Those people wanted him dead so badly. This time around he would have to disappoint them. He was destined to enter the Emperor Star Academy. Naturally, before that, he still needed to condense his second astral soul and raise his strength. After all, the Emperor Star Academy was a place where experts were as common as the clouds. Francis led Qin Wentian around the main building area of the Divine Weapon Pavilion and entered the inner courtyard of the Divine Weapon Pavilion from the side. The prosperity of the Divine Weapon Pavilion was all supported by the operations of the inner courtyard. Just like in the Star River Association, as a guest elder of the Divine Weapon Pavilion, Francis had his own weaponsmithing hall. Not only that, he had 2 apprentices to assist him in forging weapons. There were many types of weapon embryos and materials here, and the temperature of the flames in the furnace could be adjusted. The environment here was in no way inferior to that of the Star River Association. Master, what type of divine weapon do you want to forge? Walking to the place where the embryos were placed, Francis asked. You choose what you are most proficient in. I've comprehended a type of second-level divine imprint, which is suitable for any type of divine weapon. If there are no problems on your side, this second-level divine imprint should be able to forge a second-level divine weapon. In that case, let's forge a bow. Fanless suddenly interjected from the side. Qin Wentian rolled his eyes, ignoring his words. A bow was one of the hardest divine weapons to inscribe. It was long, thin, curved, and extremely difficult to inscribe the divine imprint. In the end, Francis chose the embryos of a sword and prepared to forge a sword. After carefully selecting the materials, Francis began to smelt the bow. As for Qin Wentian, he sat down and quietly comprehended the second-level divine imprint. It was an extremely complicated combination of divine imprints. Qin Wentian meticulously analyzed the divine imprint in his memory and used his astral energy to imitate it in his arterial pathways. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.